Okay.
All right. So tonight we get into the bottom of the ego. Duh. Everybody, drum roll, please. Duh. Okay, the ego. So basically, we're talking about I guess the good, the bad, and the ugly of the ego. So let's talk about some good parts of the ego. That's like our self-esteem, right? Basically our boundaries that we set within our lives, things of that nature. But then we have the bad. So I have a question that I'm just going to throw out there. Can love and ego exist in the same room?
Complete silence.
What do you mean? Please explain that further.
Okay. So where there is love, at times the ego has to be put down. So when you feel like you're in a position to be, because ego comes in when we want to be right? Ego comes in when we feel the need to be right. So, and even if the word tells us to die daily to this self, because that is part of the ego, which is something that we all have. We have this ego, and we're supposed to put it down. Where does love and ego exist together?
That's a good question.
Well, love can't, or you're not loving, whether it be loving someone or something, you're not loving at an optimal level if your ego, if we're talking about, like you said, the negative aspect of ego, if that is also trying to be at the forefront, there's no way, because love, right, doesn't, it knows all, right? It sees. So you can't, if ego's there, you miss the love. I'm gonna call them the loving points. You miss the loving points. You miss where you can love someone, be concerned with someone, because you're caught up in you.
And self-righteousness.
So then you're saying ego tripping and loving is like you're stuck on yourself, so you can only love yourself.
Wow.
But let's think about it. Aren't we supposed to love ourselves?
We are supposed to love ourselves, but we have to leave our ego in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to forget about us and think on others.
To put the needs of others before us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, but at the same time, you're supposed to love thy neighbor as you love yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it does start with you. It does start with you, as long as there's a fine line, though. There's definitely a fine line, because you can get so in tune with yourself where you in the mirror kissing you, love you, boo. Mirror kissing yourself 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Nobody else matters and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's a fine line. I think it's easy to cross, and I think most people cross it when they feel as though that they're I think their self-esteem is being attacked for some reason. I think that's when most people cross it, and or when they have low self-esteem. A lot of people use their ego when they
got low self-esteem.
When they have low self-esteem, so they flip it over. They don't feel too good about themselves, but they kind of throw that out there as protection, to protect themselves. So they don't further get hurt or whatever have you. So it's a fine line between all of that. It's like, it's subjective. It's not cut and dry. Like it's just not even
It's
across the board.
it's yeah, just like it's not just black and white.
Yeah,
There's gray in there.
yeah.
For self-esteem,
But,
ego is comprised of self-esteem
Mhm.
and being able to stand fast in what it is that you think or believe.
mm,
And it is like your ego, it's a part of you. There's no getting rid of it, but you have to be able to tame it.
Yeah.
Because your ego is what helps you manifest your self-esteem. It's just like, I know I look good.
mhm,
That translates into self-esteem. And so you do things to ensure that you look good. You do things to make sure that you stay that way,
mhm.
right? So Trey said it, I guess if you talk about the negative side, then yes, ego is a problem, but it also has a very positive side
Yeah.
because my ego translates into my self-esteem, which means I can help my partner or my children. And like Erica just said, it's a very fine line.
Mm.
You can't let it get the best of you where you have to, there's people, we all know one, they walk into the room and they think they are the smartest person in the room, the wisest person in the room. That's when it has taken over. I mean, it's okay to have confidence. It's part of your self-esteem. But your ego also is the part that drives you to say, nobody in here is smarter than me. And that's when, like Erica said, they will fight you tooth and nail to be right, even when you know that they're wrong and they know that they're wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
I think too, I like the word Mary used. It, like you said, ego, it comprises of your, it's a part of you. And so sometimes we get that conflated. There's things that are a part of us, but at the same time, when you talk about that certain thing is usually used in a negative light. So therefore you cancel it out altogether. Like, oh, you don't have no ego. No, I need an ego.
Yeah.
The question is, what do I do with it? So I just thought about this too, the negative aspect of ego, or when someone's like that, they're also telling you they're lacking in love. That's without saying it, they're indirectly saying it because when you have ego, it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Right? If you come in the room and you got to make sure everybody know who you are right from the gate. Now you can lie, but no, you're screaming out, man, I feel like I'm not getting loved in a certain area. So let me beat y'all to the punch. It's like this. The love that I don't get from everyone else, let me give it to myself. We're like, no, that's reserved for people appreciating you, but you don't think people will appreciate you. So then you substitute, right? Now you love yourself the way you're supposed to, but then you love yourself the way other people are supposed to love you. So it's like you take over the whole thing.
You come in talking about, oh, y'all just not gonna speak to me. Y'all. I walked in the room, but you ain't gonna speak to me.
Translate it. You're like, oh, okay.
Instead of when you walked in, they was already sitting there. Why you ain't say hi?
Exactly.
Okay.
Nobody in the room is just gonna talk. They all have issues. I'm the only sane one.
It's nothing wrong with me. It's something wrong with all of you.
All of you.
Okay.
Listen, a conflated ego is borderline narcissistic.
And that's the question of when does the ego, well, that was another question. When can it become a narcissistic? That's what I was about to ask.
Well,
Mary is on it. She on it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, before you guys moved on, to the next question, I was gonna say, just to get back, Ms. Bennett, to what you originally asked about love and ego, and can they be in the same room? I would say yes, because it all depends on what is your love source. If your love source is God, then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you in the room next to. it overcomes.
Mhm.
And you know what? And you know what, saints? The greatest thing about this thing called life, it's an individual walk.
Yeah.
We all have an individual walk with God. We are all individually seeking God for ourselves. But see, I feel like with religion and tradition, this is the reason why people are divided, because maybe we believe in one thing, but maybe this the way that we receive our beliefs is different than the next person. But that is not a thing that should keep us separated. We should still be able to come together. And that's why I like this small group, because I really feel, because I kind of let everyone speak before I, jump in, or sometimes I just want to listen, because you need to know who you in the room with. And when you in the room with life changers, that sometimes it's better just to listen. But what I'm hearing right now is, in order for us to be able to be in a room with egotistical people, because see, God has already called us to be in those type of rooms, because most people with money, they have a really bad ego. See, we all multi-trillionaires, but see, God is trying to get our ego together. And the only way that we can have that ego together is to tap into his source, his love. Love conquers everything. So now if we love it from the perspective of God, because we have his word, ego, principality, Jezebel, Ahab, we walk into any room and the love that we have overpowers. Now, sometimes that love can look rough, but at the end of the day, love and ego can be in the same room, but it all depends on where is your love coming from? What is the source of that love? And that was just to answer, the question.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
That is a good point.
Well, let me say this real quick too, to what the sister just said about the ego. Like, I'll even, like, confession. Some of my ego, as a believer, I had to learn, or I'm still learning this, because if the source of all love is God, if someone is not believing what I'm believing, but they're demonstrating love towards me, guess what? That's still love.
Yeah.
But see, before I might be like, well, see, but you ain't rocking with God, you don't believe in all that. So really, man, so you got a fake love going. Like, no, just because it's like, the genuine thing is the genuine thing, whether or not you want to acknowledge it. Now you could pass it off as something else, but it's genuine. The only problem is you're not acknowledging the one who is all, or the one who gave you, because that's, and sometimes we get trapped in these little corners, because we'll act like Christians are the only ones that can do good for people. When a lot of times, a lot of people do good things, but we made the gospel about, us doing good things. No, the gospel is about Jesus, and we're representing, and we're trying to show love, no matter, like I just said, no matter where you're at, because sometimes you could be in the room where with the heat, and it's the heat, but you still have to represent and love. You see, your love you have to love strategically. I like what she said. If David's in the room, okay, you love him one way. But if Ahab's in the room, you got to love another way. You still got to love, but it's going to be strategic, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to let you come in and just start taking everybody out, but I'm still called to love you. And like you said, that love might be, you got to get out this room. You got to leave, man. That's the role.
You got to roll. But Saul, even though Saul, what was it? It was Saul that was trying to take David out.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's a perfect point. So David recognized that, listen, according to kingship and all that's God's anointed. I can't kill God's anointed. Matter of fact, David then killed the man who killed Saul, even though Saul was coming after David. So that's how much he respected the order and structure, what he believed that this is how I'm supposed to do things. It's like you said, it's gray. We want it to be black and white, Yo, who my enemy? Who my friend? So you could just, some stuff ain't clear, but one thing is clear. You're still called to love no matter what.
Right.
You're even called to pray for your enemies. You're even called to pray for those who spitefully use you. So even
Right.
though, just like you said, even though you want it to be black and white, it's just gray. Everything it's just all gray. Loving, you have a choice to love God, or to say that you don't. You have a choice to follow him and say that you don't want to follow him. That's a choice.
And negative ego tells you it's black and white because you say, you need to, you see how I thought about it? How come you're not thinking about it the way I am? See, you wrong. You wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mary said we have to be careful what we think is ego versus other things.
Yep. That's
Oh,
true.
what's the other things?
Explain.
Give us an example, Mary.
So, all right. I just think I thought about women in this instance. Like, there's this culture now of like women knowing their worth,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
They're like, that can be misconstrued as ego.
Mm.
You gotta look at it individually. I mean, it's not my ego if I make $100,000 a month and I don't want to marry a man that still lives with his mom.
Mm.
That's not ego, that's common sense, right?
Yep.
Mm.
But if we use the word ego interchangeably, you understand what I'm saying? Then it's like this woman has this false sense of ego or this air about herself, right? That someone will say her ego is too big.
Mm.
So we gotta, and that's just, an example, but we gotta be real careful about what we perceive as being ego versus what really is.
Mhm. That's true. That's true.
I mean, when we come, just like how when we first started, we was talking about how, ego is that, that confidence part, but we don't want to be too confident. So even though we are people that we could be in a position to make a whole lot of money or whatever the situation is, just like we can be in a position to not have anything, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that we don't want to be in a position to think that we're just higher than anyone else because we have. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's where that egotistical mentality comes in. Like,
Even to that point,
mm,
I have to like not even think about what I think society thinks the categories are, because then that's when I'll start to measure and say, oh, I'm thinking higher of myself than I ought to. But a lot of times that's based on what they are saying and not necessarily on, oh, how am I supposed to be moving right now?
yeah.
But see, how I'm supposed to be moving in your eyes, like you said, it may look into to Mary's point. Okay, I'm saying my standard is this. But from your view, you're saying, well, I don't like what she said, so she got an ego because she got a little bit of money. So then that person, they just now build this whole narrative off of their standard. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to think of it like that. I want to examine myself and make sure, okay, Trey, you tripping. Because see, I can be tripping and you never know it. That's because I'm checking myself about, all right, this is a negative aspect of your ego. As opposed to like, say everybody that's on the Zoom. Well, everybody on the Zoom said this. And so according to that, I guess I am being egotistical. No, that's not necessarily like the standard. But usually that's how we make moves based on what somebody has or doesn't have. And then that's when you get that, oh, they think they better than, or their ego in a way, when it's like, no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how does that play out? So how does that play out in relationships? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that ego, how does that play out in relationships? Like, how do you, because just like Sister Becca was saying, like sometimes that you have to basically put your ego down. You have to put the needs of someone else above your own needs, but still love yourself enough to love that individual as well.
How do you work? How does that work? Because you know, you're one of the people in here that's married. So how does that function for you functionally? Like the whole, because you just said the expression, you just used the expression, I got to put, I'm just paraphrasing now, I have to put my stuff to the side.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is that?
Say like, okay, some lines of self-care, like because to put your children's needs before yours, because you have to put your husband's needs before yours, you lack in that area, and basically what you're doing is you're not taking care of something that you might need time. I might need time to just go out and just have time to myself. And those are the things that, because I put everyone else before my own needs, those are the things that I basically suppress. You understand what I'm saying? Like not going, okay, I can't go anywhere today. You understand what I'm saying? I have to make sure that this is done, this is done, this is done. And if I don't do it, it won't get done. So I have to make sure their needs are met while suppressing my own. If that makes any sense.
So that's healthy for you?
I think in a sense, no, it's not healthy, because we all still have to take care of our needs. Like, just like I had to get a procedure done on Tuesday. So that is one thing that when I had to go to the doctors, I was like, you know what, this is something that has to be put first in the subject. Like, I have to go to the doctors. I have to start basically getting myself checked, because I haven't been, because I put everybody's needs before mine. So at the end of the day, yes, I did say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. End of subject. You're gonna have to take off. You're gonna have to make sure that you can set that time aside so that I can do X, Y, and Z. So that is something that I did, that is something I did accomplish. I can say that. And do I want to accomplish? And I realized that I don't want to get to the place where, as though I get so frustrated where I have to walk out and say, you know what, I'm done. You understand what I'm saying? You don't place. So that's why I know during the day, I take a lot of time to recoup. I take a lot of time to write. I take a lot of time to reflect. And I also take a lot of time to do what I love doing, which is poetry, which is writing, journaling, which is trying to de-stress from a whole lot of different things, and then getting my mind together, and fasting, probably, trying to, like, I don't really eat in the mornings. I don't really make a habit of doing that. But even though that they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, I drink juices in the morning. So do that and just let that be what it is, and probably eat 2 meals out of the day. But it gives me time to reflect. It gives me time to say, okay, this needs to be done. And I'm now decluttering. So that's another thing. So I know that a lot that we go through, and all that we have around us, and everything that we have in our home is also a reflection of what's going on in your life. So I'm starting to do that too. Like, I'm getting rid of stuff. I'm decluttering altogether. And I feel like, that's another part of taking care of yourself, and not being so egotistical and be like, oh yeah, well, hey, it's just about me at this point. That's where I say that the ego, yes, because I'm still loving me, I'm still loving my family, and I'm still taking care of the needs of each and every last one of us, so that it could be balanced. I feel like without balance, it kind of messes everything up. So, and I can possibly say I wasn't balanced, because I've always put others' needs before my own. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and I've started to realize that more and more, it felt more and more like I was being broke. So, and it's not that, that's just who I was as a person. And I can't, it's like, I just couldn't change it. Like, I would leave my job to do things and make sure that other people were taken care of. And that's just who I've always been. So, and I just ask God to continue to allow me to be light, but at the same time, still make sure that I'm taking care of me, because if I can't take care of me, and if I'm not well, then how am I going to be taking care of anybody else? So.
Amen.
Yeah. I put that scripture in the chat, Trey.
Habakkuk 2:3.
Okay. So when is the ego? So here's another question. Which one? We said. Did anybody else want to answer about the ego and can they exist together? Ego. Did we say love? Love.
Yeah, love.
So Yara, we was talking about love and the ego existing in the same environment. Can it exist in an environment? So that's what we was just breaking down. If you want to comment on that, you can. If not, we're gonna go to the next question about the ego being dangerous. All right. So let's go to, all right. So when is the ego dangerous? That's a question.
At 12.
What happened? What?
She said, when is the ego dangerous?
And what did you
I
say?
think
12.
Go ahead, somebody talking. Go ahead.
me, Beckett.
Oh, Sister Becky, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think, like Mary said, once it becomes an individual who is a narcissistic, or that, they have that mentality, that's when it can become very dangerous.
Could you be a person that is basically, so listen to this. Could you be a person that is always considerate of people and then turn around and be egotistical? Depending on depending on your situation and your circumstances, can you turn egotistical overnight?
I think so. But it's not overnight though.
Yeah, it's not overnight.
It's something
overnight.
it's something that's underlying, and it just hasn't reached the surface yet.
Okay.
So it's just creeping up, and that's like one example is like you were making earlier, Latrice, about not like meeting your own needs. And what happens is when you do not meet your own needs on a regular basis, it builds up. And a lot of people don't say not recognize, they don't acknowledge it. I just got to keep going. I got to keep doing this for the children. I got to keep doing this for mom. I got to keep doing this for friends and stuff like that, and just keep pushing things back, and then you explode. After a while you explode, it reaches the surface, and then there's no stopping it, and people looking at you like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Because they never saw it. You suppressed it. So they never saw it. So now they think you got an issue. You got issues going on. And it's not real. It's just that one. You weren't taking care of yourself.
Now you turning tables.
Right. You flip it.
Well, see, you get into that's where you get into a passive aggressive rut.
That's it.
So a lot of times when you're passive aggressive is because, to what Latrice was saying earlier, maybe you thought about the balance, but you never tried to strike the balance. So you let things go, and people think, oh, and then you blow up. Oh, what's wrong with them? Like you said, now it looks like you're being selfish and egotistical, when it could just be the case where you should have been addressing things as they came along. And that's another thing we have to get better at, being real with what you're facing.
Somebody said something to me one day. It was about, I think it was something that I had posted, and they pretty much was saying, you can't save the world. And I was like, well, I can save one at a time. And they were like, no. They was like, you can't save the world. Stop. Person at a time. Why we can do it together? Why we can't reach
Well,
You know
together?
what? It's amazing that you said that because I just told my girlfriend that she has that, and I'm gonna call it a problem because it is a problem, because she has that thing where she is got to be the savior. You know how you say Captain Savior? She's she got to do. She trying to save everybody in her family. She trying to save it's everybody. Somebody got a problem. They on her phone, and I'm like, you can't do that. But see, then she looks like she's falling apart.
Yeah.
If you listen to her talk, by the time she gets finished, you will be depressed.
Mm.
And you're not even going through any of that. It's her, but you feel all the weight that she's carrying, and you can feel it by the time she gets finished talking. And I always get after her about that. And I said, you need to take care of yourself. Your children are grown now. You don't have any small children you have to worry about. And I stopped trying to save everybody. And I tell her that all the time. I said, we already got one. Jesus did it, and can't nobody else beat him at it. So you need to leave. You need to leave that to him and go on and take care of yourself. But she just has this in her mind that I have to, and I have to, and she just keeps going. I'm like, one day you're not gonna be here to do it. Your butt gonna be in a hospital somewhere if you don't cut it out. And then I get after her all the time, and I worry about her all the time. And it's just, it don't make no sense. But it's man, it's deep.
I think like I thought about this too, to your question, Latrice. Like when does it like you said, get to that certain place? You know, like like we just said, when you're not catching it, when you're not acknowledging it. And I thought about one time when I used to do a lot of rapping in church. Somebody from a church had called me one time about coming to their church. And it was kind of late, meaning it was like, you didn't really give me no time. It was like a week in advance or something. And I should have said something then. I should have said, hey, that's that's close to the button. I don't have time to prepare anything. But I didn't say that. I said, okay, but it was kind of reluctant. And I'm like, that whole week was just like, very like anxiety filled because I'm trying to do stuff. So I get to the church, boom, I do the thing, sit down, and oh, God bless you, thank you, thank you for coming. And so they made the remark about the time and how, it was the last second. And then this was so weird. I just bursted out loud. I'm like, yeah, I could have did better if you gave me 2 weeks instead of 1 week. And soon as it stopped, soon as that last word came out of my mouth, in my head, Trey. I can hear my dad's voice, Trey.
He's not coming back.
Yeah. And listen, I felt so bad, but I recognized, like, bro, that didn't just happen that night. That was already bubbling. But because you didn't say nothing, because you didn't want somebody to say, well, I called Trey, and he was like, no, oh, okay, he don't really. And I got caught up. So by not addressing it, it came off as, who this guy thinking you're talking about giving 2 weeks? Oh, he got more bars than anybody. But that's how it came off. But I was, like I said, I was kind of upset, but then I was kind of like, yeah, you would have gave me. But then that's why I was like, no, man, and it was funny. Not until I was done like that last word, it was like, did you just say that? Like, I don't even want to see that video. If somebody got a video, I don't even want to see it. Because that was eager.
Wait a minute.
They didn't
Oh, they didn't. Wait, did they?
They said,
Yeah, actually, they did. Me, and that's a whole nother scenario. Joy ain't on here to tell it because they invited me and Joy, but then yet people had issues with. Yeah, I'll let Joy tell that. Yeah.
They said, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna invite him and his sister.
And we're going to call him an hour before service this time. Let's see how he reacts. Let's go.
So,
Ain't no way. No,
Man.
I mean, listen, I'm telling you how, even when you know how we be in church, And your dad will call on me and he'd be like, do you want to render such selection? I'd be like, oh Lord.
Well, no, well, let me ask you a question. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll just ask you, since we're talking about ego, has there been, okay, you being a singer, has there been times where maybe you've been in the church and you heard somebody sing and you're like, yo, I can sing better than them?
Yeah. But you know what I would do? I would sit back and I'd be like, Lord, like, use me. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't want to look at somebody as not being able to sing. You understand what I'm saying? I want to look at them as, okay, well, what are they doing to basically minister to the hearts of the people in the congregation? You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end, I may get up there and feel like every time I get up there and sing, I feel like I can't sing.
Or wait a minute. So wait, did you? So I guess I should have said it like this. Had you been in a place where someone sang before you and you were going to sing after them and you were like, yo, I can sing better than them? Like, what? Wait. So when you got up, you moved according to that. Like, let me show them. Or I said, Janika on here, I'm sure I wonder if she's had that type of, has that entered her mind before too, as far as, yo, what they doing?
Miss New Bill. Because when I get up there and listen, because when I get up there and sing, I always feel like I can't sing. And that's because I think that singers don't understand that when Janika can tell you, because when I'm singing to her and I'm like, Nikki, what does it sound like? And she's like, Chingy, you sound fine. I'm like, I can't hear it. Like it doesn't, I think it doesn't sound right. Maybe I need to bring it up this way. And she's like, Chingy, okay, do what you need to do. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And I'll be saying that I don't know. I'll be saying I don't know songs just so I don't have to sing. Like, I don't know that song. Nikki asked me to sing at a funeral, and I said, "Well, I don't know that song."
Lying, well, man.
I asked her to sing at my daughter's wedding. She said the same thing.
Well,
I don't know that song.
Listen, it was a song that I didn't really know. I didn't know.
Oh, you asked Chingy? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I can trust Chingy now. She didn't let the cat out the bag.
Mary, you got to give her a song she know and then print it out. Print out the lyrics and give it to her.
You got to give me a song that I know. Because listen, Nikki was like, Chingy, no, this is the kicker. Nikki was like, Chingy, at the end of the funeral, I need you to sing going up the Beyonder.
You going up?
going up Beyonder, right? So
No.
It was by the family. It was
So wait.
by the family.
She said going up the yonder. I said, Trey, listen. I started singing the song and I was like, Nikki, I don't know this song. And she was like, Chingy, you're singing it. I said, but Nikki, don't know the whole song.
No.
I was like,
I told you to just stick to the hook and keep repeating it.
Going up the yonder. I said, Nikki, like they didn't even listen. They didn't listen at the end of the song, end of the funeral. I didn't have to sing that because they were done.
Going up
They were
yonder.
done. I said, okay.
I'm going up yonder.
And let everybody know you got paid for that engagement too.
Oh, dang.
Well, yes, I did get a couple of bucks for that engagement.
Oh. Ego's getting paid up in here. All right.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, and sometimes I just be, I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh my God, they shouldn't even, sometimes, because Nikki will say, listen, don't get up there, you know you can't sing. Okay? If you can't sing it, you don't get up there. And I used to be like that. I'd be like, yo, why would they do that? Why would they go up there and do that? But then as I got older, I started to be like, yo, listen, there's always somebody that can sing better than you.
Yep.
There's always someone that basically can minister to the, you understand what I'm saying? And when they're singing from their heart. And they're not just singing to sing pretty, because sometimes I used to sing to sing pretty because that's all I knew. You understand what I'm saying? But now it's like, nah, if I'm singing, it's going to come from the heart, because it's going to come from a place of obedience, because that's what God wants me to do. And this is how the last time it was me and Nikki, and I kept telling Nikki, I said, listen, I said, what if we get up there and then the track don't work?
Mm.
And this was that time that we
That
had to
was
sing
deep.
together. We had to sing together. And you know what? You know
Yeah.
what the Spirit said to me? The Spirit said, go up there. You go sing without that track. And Nikki was like, no, you're going to have to use that track. And I
Right.
said, Nikki, we got to go sing. Nikki was like, I'm not going up there. I got up there. I started singing. Nikki came and said, let me go up here and let me start singing.
Well, doesn't the fallout, I thought about the fallout of ego too. Sometimes if you, you know, because we like, oh, I don't want to be egotistical. And you go to the other extreme to where you don't use your skill because you're more focused on, I want to be so genuine. But then you like, but wait a minute, you got skills. So think about this. Sometimes we, the church demonize skills. So now you're afraid to do some runs because you're like, nah, see, and be like the world. What was David like the world when he was playing an instrument that was ridding Saul of the spirit? Or he was like, no, you know what, that's been too deep. I better not use my skills up in here. So that's a battle sometimes too, because you like when I first started rapping, I remember one time after church, my dad said, okay, when you gonna start ministering? And I was like, and I was talking about, like, this guy talking about, I was up there in my head, I'm killing it, man. But he was talking about a balance thing. And so it's just like, okay, there's nothing wrong with skill, but the intent and you know, your heart location, you also need to consider that. But yeah, don't go to the extreme, because see, some people will have no, you know, I'm not trying to be harsh, but like you said, no skill, no talent, but because they're doing it unto the Lord, we just, oh yeah, you know, but yeah, I say that's a little internal, or that couldn't be an internal struggle, because you know what you know how to do, and like, you know, do you take that to, you know, negative, egotistical places? And like I said, I know personally I have. I remember one time, now maybe somebody like, I didn't know, this was funny. When I first started like writing, I didn't know what, or I thought I knew what bars were. I thought I knew. So we're at my people's house and I'm doing it. So this is like the first time I'm doing something with other people. So see, sometimes you know, you don't know your weaknesses until you get amongst others. So we're working on the song. And every time like it comes to my part, like, Trey, man, yo, where you coming in the wrong time? Like, what you mean time ain't over? I'm like, yo, my bars is fired, right? That's why I keep saying, like, yo, this guy, I said, why this guy hating on me? But every time we get to the part, and every time I come in with my stuff, it's just like I'm like, I started to notice, like, Dad, Trey, you are missing it. So I was conflating what I'm writing with the timing of when I'm supposed to come in. And I remember I got so mad at this dude for like 3 months. I'm like, yo, this guy hating because I write better bars than him. It took 3 months for me to figure out what he was saying. Now, let's be honest. It took me 2 more years to say, bro, I apologize.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's what it was, because I remember one time I'm writing something. I'm like, wait, oh, that's a bar. So then I started writing and I was just like, because I usually would just write. If the music was on, I'm like, I'm writing something, because it was always just me. But if you were someone else, you gotta, you know, or you're gonna be colliding. Same thing with singers. If you're doing a duet,
Yeah.
you can't just be all over the place. They're gonna be looking at you like, that's my cue.
Yeah.
You know, I'm giving the look like Janika give him.
That's my cue.
Yeah, that's my cue. So
My note.
that's my note, or that's my yeah. So ego, man. It's
gonna make you be like, no, sing the same note.
yeah. Listen, it'll make you bury truth when it comes to because truth was right here coming in front of my face. But I'm saying this guy hating on me.
Yeah.
I rap
But it
better than
does-
him.
But ego, what that does is it pulls you away from God. That's what it does. Because now you're honing in on yourself and you're not honing in on what he's asking you to do, and which is use your true gifts. Just because you feel as though you would like to sing and you don't know it, what you don't do it well, that's not your gift. He's not going to give you something that you don't do well.
I went
So
from
you
Trey to
focus on
Daddy
what
Yankee.
he gave you and not what everybody else is doing. See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. No, you listen. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I was, like I said, I was so mad. I was just so mad because I'm like, bro, how dare you, man? I know I can rip. But they were getting into some technical things, and I was like, yo, technical this, man. Yo, and
That's a dark shade.
Hey, how dare you talk about me like
yeah,
that?
how dare you talk about me?
What I'm supposed to be doing.
But to what Erica said, it did pull me. So like I said, I went in as Trey, I came out as Daddy Yankee. I was like, yeah, you know, we was doing.
He's sitting over there like, man, don't you ever talk to me like that again.
Listen, I was mad. Oh, you should have seen me. I was really like, yo, this guy hating, man. And I was going around telling everybody, I'm like, yo, what's your name? He hating.
I
He
was
hating.
always, but see, I was always intimidated by singing. You understand what I'm saying? Even though that's something that a gift that God had gave to me, I was always intimidated by it. So I can sing in front of my children, I can teach them how to sing, and I can do all of those things. But as soon as I get in front of a congregation or get in front of people, it's like that anxiety comes in. And I'm trying, but see, it's totally different. Singing is totally different from me doing poetry. Now I can do that in front of a lot. Listen, I used to go to a couple of places in Philly. And when I say that, when I had to do poetry in front of these people, and it was hundreds of people had to get on stage and do this. It was totally different. Like, it's not the same as you singing, as you basically spitting some poetry to a bunch of people. It was totally different. So I had no fear in that, but I had fear in when it was singing, and it was probably only maybe 30, 40 people in the church. And I had all this fear, and then I get in front of hundreds of people and do poetry and was fine.
That's your true gift. Your true gift is poetry.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe
because we all have multiple gifts. Everybody has multiple. You just don't have one. You just don't have one gift. We're all good at multiple things, all of us. It's just that one is what God gives you to reach other people.
Yeah,
that's the one. That is called poetry. If it's that easy for you, that's it. That's the one you use to touch the hearts of people.
That's why I started the podcast, because I basically, it's an easy platform, but at the same time, it gives me the freedom and the space to say, and also basically bring God's word the way that I feel it needs to reach.
Yeah, you can feel it. I listen to a lot of your stuff, and you can feel the passion behind your words. You can feel your voice, your tone, everything. You can feel it. It comes through that poetry, because I've listened to a lot of them. Yeah, that's it. Poetry is your thing, girl. Do your thing. Do you think?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, we all, and you know what? And those other gifts, they help you with your main one. That's all it is. They help cultivate your main gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And like I said, I think too, that doesn't, like I said, to your point about, the things that we've been gifted to do, whatever they are, that's where, or at least it seems like from experience, that's where ego tempts you the most, because things that, like I said, something I'm not skilled at. If I got ego on that, then I'm just on some other level. Like, man, bro, you can't even, You can't sing. Like if I had an ego about singing, I'm like, yo, man, give me this mic. Yeah, this guy ain't even singing, man. There's something's wrong because I need to get mad at myself also. But yeah, I think with, and it's funny, we was just talking about before we like started. And I think Eric was talking about like, when God's speaking to us, signs and wonders and things like that. I think sometimes through your gifting, right, and you want to find out if it's something that's very beneficial. Man, if you're getting heavy opposition from yourself or from others, I'm not saying that's 100% a sign, but man, that's a pretty good one, because if you're getting opposition, but at the same time, you just have this overwhelming burden to do said thing, but you're frustrated because of the heavy opposition, man, you right where you need to be. And like I said, it might be uncomfortable. And see, ego, once again, so ego can come into that situation and pull you away and get you to something that's more comfortable. But it takes you out of purpose. It takes you out of yes. It takes you out of that, right? Right. You need to be on the front lines, but you know.
Keeps you from that success that God is reaching and leaning towards your life, because the ego is coming in. And basically what you're doing is you're saying that, oh, you know what? I'm not doing that.
Yeah. What's going to happen tomorrow? You ain't giving me enough details.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's part of, listen, I'll confess some of my stuff. Sometimes I'm like that because I'm like, well, what's going on tomorrow? Wait, no, you ain't give me no details?
Exactly.
All right, man, I need
I can't do it.
Yeah, you there's a tendency.
I can't be a part of it. But you know what? Because we are like tangible people. We're like, oh, I need to see it first. And I need to know that it will work for us to step into it. And God said, I said, step into faith, not step into what you see. You understand what I'm saying? Because none of us sees tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? All we see is what's going on right now. And if God moves you in a way, he moves your heart in a way to say, okay, this is what I want you to do. And you're like, well, where's it going to take me?
Well, I just thought about this logical thing. Now, we'll be afraid to trust the Lord because we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we'll look forward to tomorrow when we have an idea about something we want to do. It ain't happened yet, but you jump on that. So why are you going to jump on that unknown? Because you want to do it. And then not jump on the other unknown because you like, I'm not sure. I didn't put my hand up 100%. So it's things like that got me like, okay, see, Trey, you have to trust more. Because like you said, ego will be like, remember when you were good with this, so then you want to run back to that, but hey, maybe it's time, it's an upgrade. You need now to be working on something else. I mean, that took me a long time because I was just like, yo, I'm going to just forever. I mean, I'm a rap. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna because I started to get good at it. And so I'm confident in this. But wait, what you mean other things? But I remember one time I got to the place where I prayed, hey, if this has a certain time limit on it, so be it. Whatever's next is next. So so then I just try to like move from that and almost I don't know about you guys, but I almost have to take on a, I don't care approach, because that'll get me from over analyzing and thinking. Like Janika's on here, so I'll say, I remember one time she, I don't remember what album it was, but she wrote this song. So she was trying to do a Spanish version. So I remember we had talked about it, and I don't even know. I think I said I could write it, or ask me. I don't remember which one, but I remember in my head, like when I hung up the phone, I was all hyped. But when I hung up, I was like, no, what would that look like? How are we going to start this? So I'm listening to her song, and I did something, I forgot, but it didn't pan out. But ironically enough, like maybe 4 months ago, I was looking through my papers and I found the song. So I actually started working on it again. And I was like, man, should I say something to her?
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, let me try to.
You're
Let me try
talking
to get
about
that.
face to face.
Okay.
Yes. Face to face, yeah. And
You know what?
face to face, yeah, something like that, yeah. So I was working on the Spanish, yeah, part. Yeah.
Yes, you were supposed to. Yes.
Ellen. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trey. Yeah, work on it.
Yeah. No, real talk. I do, like I said, I started like getting back on it, but yeah, I have to do that.
I remember I said
Once you-
That's good. Okay.
Once you perfect one thing, I notice about people, once you perfect with one thing, then God moves you to the next
to the
thing.
next thing.
Right.
You're supposed to continuously grow and evolve every day. So once you get something and you get to a point where you plateau,
But
then
see, I
now
like
it's
staying
time-
where I'm at. I'm like, ooh, this is good.
Yeah.
No, you're not supposed to stay in your comfort zone. You don't grow that way.
Yeah.
I'm still in the 90s, man. It's like
He said he's still in. Oh my God, you need to come up out of there. You got to come up out of there.
I gotta come up out of the 90s, man.
You got to come up out of the 90s with
Gotta
the
get out of
what you say with the name belts,
Like,
the name belts,
hold on.
back name belt,
Trey.
and the end you with Trey on it.
Yeah,
okay?
listen, I never did
With
that.
your name on
They
it.
didn't,
Name
they, didn't
tag.
have, they didn't have my belt.
Oh, they ain't have your belt.
They had trees.
Tree, that's it, trees.
Trees,
They
I
have it.
couldn't find none of them.
Are you coming
Get
from?
out of here.
Nope. They didn't have my belt. I was so mad, but I found the L,
Oh. Mm,
and I was like, I don't want to wear this because it feels like I'm taking an L all the time.
And she like,
I'm an undercover comedian too.
oh no, no, she's not.
We noticed that with your English
Mm.
accent.
We got it.
Sorry, your British accent. My bad.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true.
Y'all need to stop. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to the ego.
Mm.
Can we have too much ego? We did, right?
We sure can.
Mm.
What was the definition of ego for the conversation again?
So there, couple of conversations we were already having was, can love and ego exist together? And
No. What was the definition?
oh, the definition of ego?
Yeah.
I had looked it up. Let me look it up again. It has to do with the self-esteem.
Yeah, it has something to do with your self-esteem, but
It's your self-esteem.
I mean,
Wait a minute.
like, we're not saying that we're saying that ego is good, it's also bad too. So that's basically what we're getting at. Like,
I'm gonna put it in the chat. I
So
got
you
it.
can have ego?
Well, Janika never answered the other question.
everybody has
I'll put it in the
ego,
chat.
What was the other question?
but we all have an ego. Every last one of us have ego. There's
Okay,
something-
so my question is this.
what?
Oh, okay, all right. Well, all right, my question is, because I'm for the sake of this conversation, how are we defining ego? That's what I'm saying.
Well, Erica's putting it in the chat. A person's sense of
Oh, all right, hold on.
self-importance.
That's the
Oh, okay, all right, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which
Which is still
So ego, in this case, because I never forget this sermon.
Mhm,
I wasn't there. Somebody shared it with me, and they were preaching about ego.
mhm.
And in relationships, ego means easing God out.
Yeah, I've heard
And
of it.
so I never forgot that. Yeah, I never forgot that.
wait,
acronym.
say that again. Ego
So,
what?
So
but
wait, ego means easing God out. And it, that's what you're
out.
saying.
Yeah.
So we were talking about.
That's what the preacher said. This was years ago. I think it was like in the 90s. But I
See,
never
the
forgot
90s.
that. But based
Y'all
on
y'all
the
in them 90s, boy.
what you but based on the definition Erica put in the chat, that I can see how, yes, ego in that case can be good and bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had talked about how sometimes that gets conflated because, like you said, you'll look at the definition, but 9 times out of 10, when people are talking about ego, they're talking about it in a negative sense.
Mhm.
Right.
But no, you do need a sense of self-esteem, self-importance. I mean,
Yes,
that
you do.
right.
Yeah.
That keeps you together. You can't just
Yeah.
think you're like nothing. Because that's not a good, that's not a good place.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's correct.
Even though some of us have been able to somehow survive
Vibe that way.
like that, yeah, man. But you haven't thrived, but you were able to survive. Just saying, like, I'll manage. You know what I mean? Think about that. Like, some people really self-esteem is real low, but they learn how to survive in that state,
Mhm.
man.
But
So
you have to understand, like, that a part of that is trauma. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? A part of that is trauma, because I remember surviving in an abusive relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it was like, okay, well, ego came in. I can't go back home. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not
Mhm.
going back to my mother's house. They would think that I'm stupid for even dealing with a man who's
Mhm.
beating on me.
Mhm.
Does that
Mhm.
make any sense? Like,
Man.
ego came in. The ego comes in when we are in these relationships, and even some of the things that I have saw myself coming up.
But was
Go
that
ahead.
ego or pride, Jane?
Wait. Yeah.
Right. Well, see,
But see, wait.
Oh,
with
Just
pride,
typing that in the chat because it is a difference between ego and pride.
uh-huh,
Your pride wouldn't let you go back home because moving out and being wherever you were was a sense of accomplishment. That had nothing to do with ego.
yeah.
And
But
you didn't want to suffer the embarrassment of having to go back
Having
and
to go
say
back. Yes, you're
you
right.
were wrong about
You're
that
right.
person. So that's not ego.
But wait a minute, I'm gonna put pride. I'm gonna look up the definition. I'm gonna put the
Well-
definition in there.
But
I couldn't even get it. I
okay.
couldn't even get it out. Wait a minute.
Okay. But Latrice touched on a very interesting point. Like you said, it has
Mary was there
nothing to
to
do with
hold his
ego. But if, say, like you said, say you go out,
Yeah.
but now you're like, your pride won't let you come back. Now, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Shouldn't the situation or in the environment, I'm just going to say environment for lack of a better word, shouldn't the environment be set so to where, hey, you know what? I fell down.
Yeah.
I know I can go home.
Now I can go home.
So there's something that's like with our parents, and then their parents have like put this thing up to where like you said, to where now you carry this pride and like, I can't go back home, where it should be.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm wounded right now. They're not going to judge me. They're not going to say, I told you so. Almost like the prodigal son situation, bro. Come back. Listen, his father embraced him. So we as a society have messed up with that, because a lot of times when that happens, we don't come back. Yo, how come you didn't tell me? Nah, man, because y'all was all, so that's an interesting thing. We're talking about love and
yes, and you would take in consideration some of the things that you've seen yourself. Like, again, like my father used to abuse my mother. Do you understand what I'm saying? I love my father. And yes, even though he was abusive towards my mother, I would never like want to not be with him, never not want to be around him. But that's what I saw. So I seen the abuse in my mother and her stay. And then take that initiative to leave. But it took something, it took something in me to actually leave. It took to be honest with you, it took a gun to my forehead and me willing to take a bullet to get out of there.
Oh, wow.
Because I looked at it from this standpoint. Listen, if I'm a live, I'm a live. And if I'm a die, I'm a die, because I didn't care either way. So that's where my self-esteem was at. We're dealing with the situation that I was in. And nobody knew. My father didn't know. My mother didn't know. Nobody knew. Nobody knew I was being abused the way that I was being abused. Nobody knew I was being physically abused. None of those things. If my dad ever found out about that around that time, somebody had been in jail. So me at the protective, because I had a child with this person. So it was like, wait, I have to protect still my kid. So, it just took a lot for me to get to a place where I was like, I said, I'm gonna die and I'm okay. But God said, I don't want you to die. So I'm taking you out of here. And when I was leaving, that's when basically, that's when he gave me a choice. You can either, you gonna die. And I said, I'm ready to die. So you gonna have to kill me because I'm not staying. That's how it was.
So enters the gray, because you just said something too that, I hear, when like women are talking about situations like that. When you have a child, now it's not this quick, because see, it could be easy for someone on the outside to judge, say, man, you had a kid, you get up and get out of there.
Yeah, it's not.
So like you said, you entered into the gray, where now you're like, wait, this is not as black and white as maybe it should be, because now others are involved. And so we have to think about that when people, other people are involved. Yeah, it's funny. The more people, the grayer it gets. When it comes to these, some of these things we do experience. How come you didn't tell me? And that's another thing, because family will, they'll get on you about, how come you never said nothing to us? Yeah. Really? And that's real. That's the first response that'll come out of my mouth. Really? Because at the time, if I'm thinking about it, if I said something, it might have been, y'all won't be able to handle it.
Family members are a lot of times judgmental about what you should or should not do. And they too darn opinionated. They don't know how to look at stuff head on and give you an unbiased opinion. And a lot of them just blow everything up, make it worse than what it already is. So it depends on who the family member is.
But to be crazy, to be honest with you, my family was not like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
I had a loving family. Like my mother, my father, again, I got 7 brothers. So my thing is that what I was doing was protecting my abuser. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I didn't want it to compromise my child not having a father. So what I did is like I said, and I was willing to, I at the time, like I said, when you're in a place where you don't love yourself and you really don't know how, you allow anybody to do anything.
Absolutely.
And that's where I was. I was at a place where I didn't love myself. I was at a place where I was letting somebody just basically smack me around until I really got to a point where I said enough is enough. And I had to actually literally turn crazy on that person just so they understand that, yes, I can fight and I'm gonna fight back. So when it got to that place, it was like God building up strength in me so that I can leave. And then when I finally made that decision, he gave me enough courage to do that, because I was afraid.
Yeah.
Like, come on now, people don't just get up and just somebody who's basically holding you hostage and basically telling you they're gonna kill you, your kid, and everything that's attached to you. You don't get up and leave and then leave and then gotta totally forgive everything that I've been through with that person and still keep a friendship just for the sake of my child. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow, yeah.
So, like me and his father are the best of friends today because I'm not with him. But You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like I said, I can talk about it because I've been through it.
Mhm.
And me in a different place in my life. But that's what that low self-esteem do to you.
Mhm.
Actually, I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. I said, you know what? Enough people do not hear other people going through the same thing they're going through. See, they keep hearing things from people who have not gone through that. So it kind of doesn't go anywhere. And for the people who have gone through it, but they're like, nah, I don't want to release that. Now you're not able to help this person who's in the path that you've been in. And what they need more than anything else is to hear someone say, listen, I know. And when you see, because they see you now, so they don't know your journey. But if they hear your journey, man, that's knocking down walls. But we don't have enough. And see, it's the funny thing is, it's not even like, man, well, ain't enough people that's actually going through that. No, it's not enough people telling people that have actually gone through it. And I'm not saying randomly, you're in relationships with some of these people and you never let them know, even though you know what they're going through.
That's true.
So I think it needs to be like more of that. We can make some headway, because to what you said, like out here when I'm doing deliveries, there's this woman. It was the fact that she said, well, not the fact that she said it out loud, but yeah, I'm gonna say the fact that she said it out loud. To me, it was just like, this is interesting. So she has a 6-year-old son, but she was saying how, but yeah, my ex is crazy because he's talking to someone else, but he always tells me, if anybody tries to talk to me, I will kill you and the kid. So I'm like, okay, is this like we've been talking, that you're screaming out because of your insecurities. So now you're telling your ex, you're not with her, you're with someone else, you're doing your thing, but you got enough ego or whatever else in you to tell her, I'll kill you. So you got to have this control. You have to threaten over here. Why?
Yeah,
Because you could really mean it, but you could also just, that's your way of like trying to control the situation because you're scared out of your mind for whatever,
Trauma, we all got trauma. So he operating from trauma, something that happened to him in his past.
Yeah.
But you're right about the sharing thing. You got about the sharing thing is that if it wasn't for people like, there's more people out there than like Oprah and Ayala Van Zandt who share their stories. If it wasn't for people like that who constantly come out and like who are celebrities and stuff and tell you the stuff that they went through, and share their stories and stuff, a lot of these people out here wouldn't be healed, because when you're going through something, you think you're the only one. You swear to God that you are the only one going through this. You feel so alone in that process. And you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Even talking to somebody, you just feel as though nobody understands what you're going through and they couldn't possibly understand when you're talking to them. Like I said, I've been through, but it wasn't physical abuse. It was emotional and mental abuse is what I went through. And when you sit there and talk to people and you try to tell them, oh, it ain't that bad, and I'm like, okay, I'm not talking to you no more. And then you kind of clam up a little bit, and you're like, well, if I'm gonna tell my story and you guys are not listening, you're not even trying to understand, then what's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point? You're told all your life that no, don't go to counseling, go to church and pray.
Well, I was getting ready to go down that route with the church sometimes falls victim of, come on, let's hurry up and make this black and white and clean it up. So for instance, if you or someone comes up to like, someone in church and they, oh, come on, baby, don't worry about it. Now, maybe they're not, I don't think they're intentional, but they're like, oh, listen, we don't want to walk into the grave with you. We want to get this done. Jesus is going to heal you. But see, sometimes the healing is walk into the grave with them. But Lord, that's not comfortable. Listen, you're one of my advocates on earth. Walk into the did Jesus not walk into the grave? He having dinner with the publicans and sinners? Like, and then he's going over there with the Samaritan woman. Listen, you walk into the grave, he walk into the area. So we have to get comfortable sometimes with being uncomfortable for the sake of being a blessing. Because like you said, you could really be such a blessing to someone
Yeah.
that, you know, to blow your mind, you know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
How does the ego play in that?
And what?
Being a blessing to others.
Oh, well, I mean, well, see,
Not get enough
you-
confidence.
yeah. I
'Cause
mean,
you-
on a negative sense, you can, I'll say it like this, from my perspective, you can think it's you,
Yeah.
but that's why I said it's important to share your story. Because if you're sharing your story, there's not a lot of room for you to be standing up like this. No, they're like, dang, man, he was going through like me with it, man. He was troubled by this. So that kind of messes up the chance for you to come in and be a hero.
Mhm.
You know, but I mean, for some people, they don't, you know, look at it like that. And especially it's not like if you got more means than someone else, then yeah, like I said, I think that temptation to be egotistical can show up stronger because you know, you're always dealing with people who are in need of you.
Yeah.
And you never like pour into them, or you never, in a sense, you never serve them, really. Never serve. Like I'm here. What do you need from me?
Yeah.
You know.
That's like that pastor we were talking about, the one that Trey, y'all were talking. It was you and my mom, we were talking about that pastor. Where was it at? Bethany? It was a pastor that was at Bethany, and you was like, he has some really
Oh,
good-
Jamal. You talking about Jamal? Yeah, Jamal Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'll just say this, man. As far as the man has the gift to speak, to get into the hearts, but like I said, I just turned
Called him
on
an
the
engineer.
whole.
Called him some kind of engineer. You said he was some kind of engineer.
I did call him.
I can't remember what the word was, but you said the
I don't
engineer
remember.
was the second word. It wasn't vocal engineer. it was
Oratory.
Oratory, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, I just said, yeah, oratory engineer.
That's
Yeah.
what it was, Mary. Yup.
Yes.
Engineer.
Yes. I mean, the man is skilled, and so
Mhm.
a lot of times you like, we've been talking about like giftings on here too. I think a good prayer is like, Lord, help that, whatever that gifting is, help that be secondary. Help that gift serve you, God. It's
Yeah.
usually it's the other way. We think we are because of what we do, instead of no, I'm here to be a humble servant, and this is the tool and the craft that the Most High has given me.
Yeah.
Because if you think the other way, that can be very damaging, especially if you if you're working out of your gift exclusively or only, then you blind yourself to where you need help, to where you need to pray, to where you need to seek God. Because say you do a gift and people get blessed, man, you focus on, look, when I do this, people are blessed, and you blinding yourself.
Yeah.
And your ego is rising because there's no humility. So yeah, like I said, I got turned off with Jamal, because I'm like, bro, you're basically, it feels like you're pimping your skills, and you're telling people to get into this dollar line, the $5 line, $10 line, $20 line. I know everybody thinks differently about some of those things, but I'm turned off by that, because you're making God a genie in a bottle, and you're going to determine, like, rub this side of the lamp and you'll get this blessing.
You
Anoint.
get that $5 line, your blessing gonna be
Listen,
real small.
I tell you, one night,
Stop, Latrice.
wait, say it again.
I said, you getting that $5 line, your blessing real small.
Oh no! Listen, you got enough gas just to get home. You can't go to work tomorrow because you got.
Y'all not right. Y'all ain't right. Oh my
You better
goodness.
you better get in that $100 line. Because you can go throw that $100 on that altar.
Yo, that is such
Are people really still doing that?
Yes. Still doing that. Yes. Listen, Nikki, the last time we went to the only last time we went to the church was when we were at the church and it was a concert. It was either a concert or like they were having something there. And pretty much when it was time to do all, basically they were saying that God told them to drop $100 in your pocket, drop this $100 on the altar. So people started leaving. They was like, lock the doors. We said, oh no, they not talking about locking the doors.
Yeah, this ain't Brazil, man. You about to get hurt.
They was like,
You ain't kidding, don't get hurt.
lock the doors, don't let them out. Y'all not listening. Wait, what? I said, oh, this ain't.
No, that's how someone gets hit. And when the cops come, you say, they tried to lock me in.
Exactly.
Right.
They try to hold me hostage. Okay.
Now, to that point though, with Termy, I remember one night they was doing some type of telethon, and he was talking about this is what messed me up bad. It was like, I don't know, just say for example, Matthew 24:13, and then send in $24.13, like that type of stuff. and so then he said, listen, you need to send this seed. And this is for you, so your kids won't act up no more. So then I'm saying to myself, so you're saying send you money so my kid never becomes a kid again?
Yeah.
I swear, people need to stop. They going to
send me Psalms 100.
Yes. Send me $100.01 for the first verse because it's powerful.
They going to HELL.
The verse that seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you. So we are to go to God. That's why he said, study to show thyself approved.
You mean to tell me I can't call the line to get a lesson?
Listen, you know what? I equate it to this. It's for me, it's like language. If someone tells me they speak Spanish, okay, the next step is for you to actually speak Spanish. Now, if I find out you don't, guess what? You're fraudulent. So with a lot of these dudes, they say, oh, we're doing the Lord's work. Now, you need to be fluent in the scripture and the things of God. So when they're talking, you're like, that don't sound, because if you're not, like, for instance, if someone told me they spoke Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish, and then they start growing gibberish, I don't know, maybe they are, because I don't know Spanish.
Yes.
So to what Latrice said, that's why it's important to know your word, because someone with the skills of Jamal Bryant can come through and he can hit you with all the church needs. Oh, and listen, sister, you know why your head's wrapped up? Because you got a lovely spirit behind what's ever under there. And the Lord told me, and you getting all, yes. And he done said a whole lot of fluff, nothing.
But you know what? If you notice, that's how people get you. What happens is these stars come out and they spend years upon years gathering this huge following of people behind them. And if you notice, once they get up there and they reach a certain plateau, they start to change. All of a sudden, they start going downhill, and you're like, where did that come from?
That's the ego coming in.
Yes. No.
That's coming in.
Like, and then they leading everybody to hell. Excuse me, but that's what they want.
They lead them to the ATM machine.
But then wait a minute, and after that, they going to ATL. After they get to the ATM.
Well, to what Erica said, like, think about this. Think about even popular groups throughout history. When the group got big, they usually split up. Diana Ross was like, yo, I'm out. Yep. It's me now. Like, wait a minute, why are you messing up the,
She had to go be Mahogany.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like you said, ego.
This is something that we have to all understand. The reason why God put people here is because we need people.
Yeah.
And when the ego comes in, the ego thinks that it does not need anyone.
Yep, there you go. That's true. Yep.
Depending on what you're basically because even let me tell you, ego come in and listen, I really don't need you. just so you know.
That's what Ego says too.
Yeah, Ego says, just so you know, I can do everything you can do, but
You want to go for the ride?
I'm just good. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, no, God said, listen, no. Just so you understand, we all need people.
Mhm.
That's what I put them here for, so that you
Wow.
can utilize these
Wow.
individuals, because guess what? Ego will have you thinking that people are liabilities when God said every last one of y'all are assets.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Mm,
That's a good
point.
word, yeah.
That's a good point.
That was a good point, yes.
We are
That's
all
why, right? That's why you burning people, because you like, man, listen, they
they have
liability.
liability.
Yeah, they expendable. I can get more of
liability.
those.
But see, that's where love comes in.
Mhm.
Love comes in and say, you know what? I know you're an asset. You may not be an asset to me, but you're an asset to somebody else. That is the better way to put it, as
Mhm.
opposed to, yo, you a liability. You
trying to-
can't, we can't coexist.
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there and not hurt nobody. It take a while for you to get there though. It does. It take a while.
I want to get there.
People work your nerves. They work your nerves.
Yeah.
Somebody
yeah,
say
yeah.
something, you be ready to just. you be
Jack
ready-
up, right?
but
I
you
mean,
gotta-
listen, the best thing we can do now, maybe, maybe somebody views different, but I'm like, our relationship, our faith is messy,
Yeah.
because like you said, it's like we going through this transition, this transformation. And so it's nothing smooth about it.
Nope.
I mean, it's a blessing in that God is the one transforming you, shaping you. But in terms of like what that process looks like, see, we keep trying to act like it's pretty.
But it's not.
And then that's why people are not willing to, or don't even want to follow you, because they have these preconceived notions of what it means to love God and follow God, because you built this image and you like, okay,
Holier than thou.
right. But look behind your image, you're like, wait a minute, what?
We didn't even know you did those things.
Right.
I don't know what people think when you start to have relationships. I don't know why people sit up there and believe that you are now sitting on the right hand of Jesus. I don't know why people think. I don't know where they get that from though. Where would you? The thing about it is I don't know. And all of us, all of us at one point have done it. We sit there and we look and we're like, well, we look at somebody and think they're perfect. Oh, they got it going on and they don't have no problems and they just perfect. And every time you look at them, they do everything right. And no, they don't. No, they don't. They do not. You don't see the mistakes that they have made behind the scenes that they trying to hide, because most people try to hide their mistakes.
That's because
I was one of them trying to hide the mistake. We all do that. We try to hide the mistake. We want to look perfect. We're not perfect. And then God, what he do? He make you trip up in front of a whole bunch of people, so you can't hide it no more. He he forces you to expose yourself.
There you go.
So you don't hide it anymore. I didn't put you here to make these mistakes for you to hide them. I let you go through what you went through so you can share your story with somebody else so you can help them.
Well,
it's not for
listen,
you to keep to yourself. I ain't put you here for that.
a good remedy to not getting exposed, as it were, is be like, yo, I'm gonna try. I want to be transparent.
Right.
Hey, y'all got issues. Because see, right, it's the
Everybody
other thing,
has
when you
issues.
act like nothing, and then when you get some, on some Jim Baker, Jimmy Swagger type of stuff, now all of a sudden, it wasn't even you. The devil made me.
Right, the devil made me so right.
The devil made me do it.
He
But
dragged
I was
me to
watching
the.
a pastor one time, and he said, "I feel sorry for the devil because he said y'all just blame him for everything, and it ain't all his fault."
Right. He was like, wait a minute. I was in Ohio at the time. I was in Ohio. This boy in Florida. That wasn't me.
It was then. We sit up here and like I said, we have our own decisions to make. We have God's way or the other way. We make the choices. Can't nobody make them choices for us. We do that ourselves. How you gonna blame somebody else for something else? You made a conscious decision to do it. It's a different
I'm
story.
gonna be honest. The more transparent I am about some things, the more free I feel.
Most
Because
people
when I
feel better.
I'm trying to live up to these expectations that I think people might have of me.
You feel
So-
better when you let that
Yeah.
stuff
Right,
out.
we
You feel
talked
better.
about it. What was that time? We talked about it on I think we talked about it on Bible study. And even when we were talking about it, about when basically even when I first started going to church, because I was always made to go to church.
Uh,
I was playing church. I just
you did say that, yeah.
yeah, just need to get there just to say that listen, I went to church today. Did you?
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh man.
We do that though.
All right, I'm gonna throw this at y'all right now, man. Like, right, I'm talking currently.
Current.
Okay, so current transparency. Man, I've been struggling with this. I don't know what you would call it, but man, all right, if somebody got a better term, you just say, give me a better term. But it's a spirit, it's like a spirit of trying to satisfy the church's requirements. I feel that weight on me sometimes, and I'm like, I don't, because it's not, because I now realize that that's not of importance.
Yeah.
But I've been so
What do you
used
mean?
to operating like that so I'm it's almost like I gotta check in with that before I check in with God.
Mhm.
What do you
So
mean?
now- Huh?
Church's requirement, Ray. What do you mean?
Okay, no, that's a good point. That's a good point, Janika. All right. Let me give you, I'll give you a small example. Say I go to the building, right? And
Mhm.
all right, I'm not jumping up and down. They doing praise and worship, or somebody's really moved, and you just relax. You just Joe with it, because you're enjoying the Lord, but it doesn't have to be in that demonstration. So I'm saying, before I was a slave to, man,
Expectation.
I got it right, the demonstration. But I mean, I'll say this, I haven't been in a long time, but that sometimes that temptation, or I guess if you want to call it temptation, comes still sometimes. And I'll say it like this, because we're talking about what ego is telling you. So that spirit kind of says, what's wrong with you? How come you're not doing that? Oh, I thought you were. So that, like, these accusations. So that's what I mean. Something to that perspective, because it's a lot of,
it's the expectation.
yeah, it's a lot of
the church.
expectations, right? And it's a lot of, we've done things this way to get to this place.
Mhm.
Now, if I turn around and say, okay, hey, I just got to the same place y'all did, and I didn't do all of those things. It's kind of different, because you've grown up in an atmosphere where you're just used to that. But now you're demonstrating in a different way.
Mhm.
You're getting to the same place. We talked about this the other night too, principles and practice. No, you're still walking through those principles, but your practice doesn't look like what it might have looked like before. But maybe you're suffering, I'll say like this, maybe you're suffering from a little bit of trauma, because when you saw those practice that, they basically almost said, oh, you got to practice it like this. If not, because some people would go to that straight. You listen, the Lord say, depart from me. That type of stuff. We're just like, wait a minute, off of practice? Because I didn't. So that's what I meant, Janika. Hopefully I wasn't like convoluted and all that. I was kind of convoluted.
She cracking up.
Yeah, she's cracking up, because she's like, what's he talking about? You
Yeah.
feel me a little bit, or
You feel me?
Because I feel like just say what you mean. It's like you trying to clean it up. Like just say what you mean.
No. Okay, I said that. Practice it. You gotta. Okay. I'll give you a crystal clear one. A crystal clear.
Thank you.
Okay, I didn't wake up. I didn't wake up in the morning, and the first thing I did was I didn't pray. The first thing I did when I woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, listen. That's about
At
it.
some point, but at
That's
some
crayons, right? That's clear. That's a clear one.
but at some
See-
point,
Actually, when you first made this statement, I thought you were referring more to your leadership role, relating to what you have to do when it comes to your church. But you're talking about your personal lifestyle,
No.
because that's too.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I'm saying in terms of, let's say it like this: the spirit of the regular churchgoer, for the most part, in the United States, is led by demonstrations of what they think it means to walk with Christ instead of actually walking with Christ. So I'm saying sometimes that weight gets on me because I realize it's not about me acting out and doing what I see others do. It's about me going directly to the Lord. Now, from that direct relationship, how I practice and how it might manifest, it's going to look different maybe than how I seen it practiced before. And like I said, it could be in terms of how long somebody's praying, or we fasting here, we tarry here. That's what I mean by that. I don't mean, and I will say this about leadership or me, like what I have to do in my church. I say I'll feel the weight from this standpoint. I'm going to do as I'm led, but I also do feel a little heat. I'll say this. I do feel a little bit of like, I turn around, people looking at me like, well, what's he doing? But I know that's only because they're used to a certain practice. So they're not even getting to the core. Wait, what's he really talking about? They're getting to, but wait a minute, he put his left foot first. Like, really, that's the crime. Not, is he preaching Christ? So that's what I mean. So you don't even get to the part of, is he preaching Christ? No, child, but you know what he did? You know what he did? So that type of thing we major, like we would all get like PhDs in that. The church majors in, did you see what they did? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's so secondary, but we've made it primary. In our songs, and when we get up and when we testify, we say, "Oh, it's all about God." Yes, with our mouths, but a lot of times in our interactions, where think about it. Why are we judgmental? Or else to say this: what's the negative judgment? The negative judgment is when you're getting on folks about their actions. Where the positive judgment, it should be, man, listen, if you preaching another Christ, that's what I'm supposed to get on you.
Yeah.
We never get to that part because you getting on me because I got on a flannel shirt.
Yeah. Or
So
you know me because I got on red lipstick.
Red lip, right?
Okay.
Right. So
It is bright red.
right. It's all right for the blood of Jesus to be red, but don't you put on red lipstick because that means devil, but the other red means Jesus. Like, see, listen. You know you're
why? Because people are waiting for. And I learned people are waiting for a reason. They're looking at you and they see you doing what you're doing, and they probably are just looking for you to make a mistake so they can have something to say. And that's most people.
Yeah.
That's most people, and that's inside the church, outside the church. And then most people are also followers. You don't have a lot of leaders. You have more followers than you have leaders. So when somebody is taught something, especially by a loved one, they follow it to the T. They follow it for years. And when someone else comes along and does it differently, they look at you like, what's wrong with you? Because you just upset their whole world. What they knew that they were doing was golden. That's what they were taught. It was golden. And when they look at somebody else and they break, then somebody comes up and disrupts what they've been doing all their life is upsetting. They don't know how to deal with it. So
Yeah.
what they do, they break it down and they try to find something wrong with it.
Yeah.
And they want you to join in with them and do it their way, because how dare you come in and have the nerve to do it a different way?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, right. And that's basically just the essence of what I'm saying. I feel the spirit of some of that pulling.
Mhm.
And like I said, I'm not saying that, because see, there's two forms. I feel like there are two ways you can look at ignorance. There's ignorance to where you just flat out don't know something.
Mhm.
And then there's the ignorance where you find out and you still continue in the ignorant way. Like, no, you just found out that that's not that, or you could do this better, but so that's all I'm saying is I feel like I said, maybe I'm not framing it right, but I still feel I feel the tension. I want to say the tension of that, I want to say like the tension of religion, right?
Oh, okay.
And you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it for the rest of your life.
Oh, I know that now. Because see,
Yeah.
like I said, before growing up, I just
But the key becomes, how do you, so
okay.
you, and honestly, having seen a whole lot of different things, I'm finding that in the walk now, I learned how to, and you know how the old people used to say, you got to eat the meat and spit out the bones.
Right.
I'm governed by, for example, now I'm governed by, so going with the first comment about prayer, it's all about my relationship with the Lord. And if I know that this is what he requires of me, because he's going to tell me by his spirit what I should be doing. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I'll give you an example. I've been working with this church plant, the Giver's Place, now for 2 years. And my membership is over in Philly at Enon.
Oh,
Now I've been going now, but since the pandemic, I've been going to the Giver's Place, because let me see, the drive to Enon is an hour, or take 15 minutes and go down the road to the Giver's Place. Okay. And also, I'm just being honest and helping on the pastor with the praise and worship. And also I just finished teaching the new membership curriculum for the new members with that included worship pedagogy and all of that, right? But I was giving offering to both Enon and to the Giver's Place. Now, I want to say, come the summertime that just went by, when I got a call from Deacon Burrows from Enon, and the call went out that, hey, we're going to be opening the church back up. And are you coming, Sister Janika? Are you vaccinated? No, I'm not vaccinated. Oh, well, you got to be vaccinated to come back to the church. I said, well, Deacon Burrows, I won't be getting vaccinated right now, but since that's the rule, I'll just keep serving at where I'm doing now with the Giver's Place. So I'll admit, what happened was I ain't sent no offering to Enon since the summer. I increased my offering at the Giver's Place.
Right.
But I will say this, about three days ago, the spirit been nagging at me. Where's your offering for Enon? Now, Enon don't need my offering. They don't. If you've ever seen the church, they don't need my offering. But for some reason, it was nagging at me, and I'm like, Lord, okay, I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm gonna be obedient. So I went online last night and gave part of my tithes to Enon last night. Okay. And I don't know what the Lord is doing or why it was so important, but I guess whatever he's trying to shape in me, that's what I mean by relationship. His spirit is going to tell you what you need to do, aside from what the church might say and what people's opinions might be.
Right.
And that's just where I'm at with maturing in the Lord at this point.
No, I'm 100% with you. That's how I'm moving. Because I probably learned more from like what you said about, listening to people and being able to be like, Dad, okay, I agree with this, but Dad, I don't. But that doesn't like
Right, that's why you ain't found a husband yet.
No, Latrice. So what you said, that's why, and they work it both ways. So say you haven't been paying tithes. They say that's why you ain't got a man. Then if you get a man, and then there's still trouble. They say, oh, well, the enemy just testing you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
My goodness, that's cold.
Yeah, so because honestly, it's so sad because people, they speaking from their flesh and they causing because I looked at my phone. They're speaking from their flesh and they're causing, frankly, I'm gonna use this word because I heard it earlier when y'all said trauma. They're causing spiritual trauma, and that's just horrible. Yeah. That's what I'm going to coin it as, spiritual trauma. But my thing is this, because I'm gonna state it for a second with the offering. I got a revelation years ago about this whole tithe thing. And I'm like, okay, so, but yeah, because people, and the way we use tithes as a form of spiritual bondage, I'm telling you, we're going to be so shocked on the day when God said it all straight. But the bottom line is, okay, tithing, and I got the whole bring it into the storehouse and all of that. I'm with all of that. But what happened was, I was like, well, wait a minute. It wasn't just money. The church made it just money. Yeah. They don't want you to tithe your time. They don't want you to tithe your clothing or your items that you would donate. They just want you to bring the money into the church. Never mind if you've also been taking care of other people or giving to the community of your time and your money and your resources. That all of that don't matter. They still want you to make sure you give your 10%. And then this is what got me, 10% off the gross. Okay, I ain't got gross.
Yes, she did.
I don't have gross. I don't have in the Bible. If I had 100 cows and the Lord told me to give 10% of my 100 cows, because that's what I got, 100, I'm gonna burn up 10 of them. But if I only bring home $100, how you making me tithe off the gross? I don't see it. Now,
that's where
on point. She is so on point.
Right.
Now I'm gonna keep it real. Now if I get a refund from my taxes, do you give off of that? You sure do. Do you see? Because it came in and I'm going to give. But they don't want to hear that. They want to hear the gross. They don't want to hear, wait, I didn't give 10% because I gave 7% to the church, but I gave 3% to, I'm making it up, the Blood Foundation, because they needed monies. That don't count?
See that?
That don't
Listen,
count?
God
That's why-
tells you where you tithe that. God, if you have a relationship with God, he will tell you where to tithe that. He will put it on your heart and say, give money to this foundation,
He
to
sure
this
will.
person, to
But
this.
we not,
Yep.
but Erica, we not saying that. We holding people in spiritual bondage, and then and trust me, because I'm working with this church plant. I am the board treasurer on the church's board. I understand the need for finances, believe me. But I get upset how people right now, there's such a thin line between the church body. I'm talking about the universal church, not the local church. And when I say universal church, I'm referring to all believers of Jesus Christ in the entire world. People right now, they are questioning the universal church. And the things we are doing in the local church, unfortunately, it's literally giving Christians an excuse to not even want to fellowship at the local church. And we better figure this out, because the pandemic, look here, these four walls getting ready to look completely different, because folks done found out I can visit 5 churches in 3 hours and get my praise on and ain't never left my house.
Yep. Yep.
So we gonna still.
It's about visiting churches, because go back to the relationship. God never left us. He was with us the whole entire time. So
Exactly.
And we went to the building expecting to get him from there. So a lot of people didn't really have a relationship. They just had religion.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
they were going to church looking for something that was always with you the whole entire time.
Yeah. So now what does the local church do? Because we can't keep doing $5 line over here, $10 line over there.
Well, I mean, now we're in a place where we actually, I'm just speaking, like, say, from a generally, now we actually have to teach what's in there, because like you said, what's been exposed is like, wait a minute, y'all adding a whole lot of stuff to this text. Like you said, like now all of a sudden you bend in the ties to where, oh, well, this go over here, that go over there. Like, no, first of all, like you said, the tie. Well, and it's funny. I think there's so many believers that have a wide range of ideas or thoughts about the tithe, and all these people are going to be in glory, even though we have different. Because like my views on tithe have evolved, because I was just, because my thing was like, well, wait a minute. The principle is God wants me to give. And he wants me to be a cheerful giver. How am I going to be a cheerful giver if I feel afraid that something going to happen to me if I don't give a certain amount? Because say if I give the tithe, right, but I'm giving it under compulsion, that kind of negates what the scripture's saying. You're not give cheerfully.
And see, the key is, and what people are missing. And this is why it's so important when I got to take this back to relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm talking about a worshipful relationship where I understand that in my role as a believer, my position is to always give honor and reverence unto the Lord. That's what it's about. Meaning I'm humble in my spirit, knowing that he is going to guide, lead, and control my walk. And it's okay, because that's part of what a worshiper does. What is missing when we think about the offering, and we tell people give 10% or whatever, and you know the pastors that will spend like 3 weeks on teaching on it from the pulpit. And then y'all know it. And then, but you got this person who they'll give it and then their lights get turned off.
Mhm.
Something's not right with that.
Oh,
And God
well,
would
like you just-
and God would not tell them to do that.
Well, like you
I
just
know.
said, you were just talking about the spiritual trauma, right? So that's trauma inducing. If say I'm in a church where, like you said, a lot of people are well off, but I happen to be one of the ones that is not, but I see
Exactly.
everybody dropping hundreds, $200, $200. And I'm like, so because you feel the pressure, you try to match, but now you in a bind. So I remember my grandma used to say, listen, I got to pay this mortgage. He not getting, I mean, she's always say, he ain't get my mortgage money.
But that's true. That's true. But see, the whole point is the whole point of offering. The whole point of offering before it became such a monetary thing, it was all about the position of the heart. Offerings were always given as a form of adoration and worship unto the Lord. It was always that way. It was always that way.
Like you said, it's an act of worship. It's an act of love, because offering is I'm giving. There's something I'm giving of myself to someone else. So for instance, we're all on here. If you're on Zoom right now and you're giving, you're taking time, you're sharing your thoughts. That's a form. Now, like to what Janika said, traditionally, we've been so used to having it in one frame, monetary. But then to what I like what you said about giving of your time and things like that. But then I heard sometimes I think this, I'm growing up Pentecostal, but I used to always tell people, you ain't seen nothing till you seen Hispanic Pentecostal. So I remember I was listening to this lady one time, and she went down to the, oh, no. Because she said, it's not just about money, but you give your time. So she said, all right, how many hours are in a day? There was like 24 hours. Okay. So what's a tenth of 24 hours? And she said, that's how long she prayed. I'm like, see, that's the stuff that induces trauma on folks, because they're looking up to you and they say, well, Pastora said this, so I got to make sure. But then you got kids, you got to get them dressed, you got to go to work, and then you don't ever get it in.
Listen. My friend right now, she's like, Neek, we're going to do an all-night prayer vigil. We're gonna be here. Here's the spot. I ain't replied to that text yet because I already know.
You better reply.
I'm gonna get 30 minutes in, and then I need a nap. I need a stretch. Let me walk. And I know her. They gonna be Shika Mashanda in all night, and I'm not gonna be there.
Shika Mashan. You know the Lord telling you to go. You know the Lord telling you to Shika Mashan over there.
I might go, but I'm gonna be like, Ro, I'm gonna give you 30. Maybe 45, because after I done prayed for the church body, prayed for the world, intercessor, named all the family and the friends. What, boo.
Well, wait a minute. You know what's going to happen when you hang up after the call? They're going to pray hard for those who couldn't stay on.
No, absolutely.
We're going to pray for those who Lord give them strength. Give them strength to hold on.
Keep them safe, Lord, and bring them back to the call.
Bring them back. She missed it. She almost had her call.
Man,
I haven't
that's
Ro back yet.
That
is so sad.
It is.
You gotta realize, from, like I said, from the standpoint from like what type of church environment you were raised in, and going through different things. Like Nikki, she was raised in a Pentecostal church, so was I.
Apostolic, yes, Lord. And Friday night was prayer.
Hello.
Friday night we'd be on the altar, and I ain't gonna lie, I would pray. Grandmom over there praying, hallelujah, Jesus. And I done fell asleep, woke up, and then continued praying. I mean, I just, laying
prostrate, praying all day and all night. Like, pray until something happened. What?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to figure this thing out.
Like the sun come up, that something happened. Sun came up. I'm gone.
Come up. I'm still praying, but I fell asleep, but I'm up. I'm still praying.
Listen, they tried when we were kids. They tried a couple times to have. Remember the youth? They called them the youth shut-ins.
Yes.
That don't work out with kids, because kids need sleep, and you trying to what we gonna do now?
What? Like my eyes are like not, they ain't even red. They like orange. I need
Yes.
to close it,
Oh my
man.
gosh. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so that's so certain. It's like this. It's like certain things they saw and they read. Their interpretation, you can argue. I think you a little off. Like remember, Jesus said, "Couldn't you stay up at least an hour?" So I remember
He did.
this lady
He
I work
sure
with,
did.
Emma. She used to say, "Papi, Jesus said an hour, so you got to pray at least an hour a day."
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Not knowing that, he said, first of all, he wants us to come as we are, messed
Yeah.
up, contrite, whatever we got going on, and we think that that God is asking us to just to come with this perfection. Like, yo, you can't come with that because you're not coming authentic. God wants you authentically.
It's about the heart.
Wants
Yeah.
you- yes, he wants your heart. He don't want nothing else. He just wants
And
your
listen,
heart.
real talk. Actually, Jesus said this, which I find is very interesting. He
Mhm.
said, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees. And guess what? The Pharisees do
Hey.
church better than anybody on the planet.
He
Jesus
said
said,
that.
no, you would have to do better than them to
Them.
get to where I need you to be. So you're like, wait a minute, I can't. That's right. So just come to me.
So just come to me. That's
Yes.
it.
Because Pharisees, listen, they would out church the apostolics,
Me
the
too, Miss-
Pentecostals,
We
everybody.
we already know when he was like, well, when you fast, don't stand out on the corners and be screaming, I'm fasting, I'm fasting. Well, you know, that's what they was doing. I'm fasting.
I'm praying, y'all. I'm praying.
That's supposed to be not you. First of all, you're not supposed to let the left hand know what you're not
Right
supposed to
hand is
left
doing,
hand know
that's
what the
right.
right hand is doing. So
Is that a scripture?
yes, it is.
It's in the Bible. Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Don't let
Yes,
the
it
left
is.
hand know. Is that in the scripture or is that
No,
culture?
not those exact words.
Somebody
It's not
find
those
the
exact
scripture.
words, though.
It's not.
Well,
It
aha,
sounds
aha.
crazy.
Hold
I'm
on,
getting
wait.
ready to look it up. I'm looking it up.
Wait a minute.
I'm looking it up.
Unika, they about to say, spare the rod, spoil the child. That's in there too.
Excuse me. Verily I say they have their reward, but when thou doest alms, let not thy hand know what the right hand doeth.
There you go. Bam. Go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
wait. What's the scripture, Chingy? What is that? Because I swear, us,
It
as
is,
the black folks, we be taking stuff all out of context.
it is Matthew 6.
Matthew
Right.
6.
Matthew 6:3. You
All
are
right,
not,
hold on.
Wait a minute, I'm looking it up now.
you ain't supposed to go out here and tell people what you're doing. That's what that is.
Keep your mouth shut.
That is not true.
No, you are not supposed to go out here and broadcast. You
No, you're not. But
And you
no, the
fasting.
Bible
You're
does
not supposed
say
to go out
that.
here
It does say
broadcasting.
you're supposed to give in silence. It doesn't say that specifically, but you're not supposed to tell people what you're doing, like behind the scenes. You're supposed to keep that quiet. It does talk about
all right, but again, see, here we go. And Trey, you gotta back me up. Y'all gotta put it in context. They're
I
talking
got you.
about when you're doing charitable deeds.
Yeah, charitable deeds. Yeah.
Yes, but this is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But
Right.
even when you're fasting, people aren't supposed to know you're fasting.
No, there's a
Bible.
scripture
That's-
around
that's
it.
not- no, that's
No,
not
there
what
is a
that-
scripture on that.
Right. That's not what that means. That means don't.
But Chingy, there is a scripture, there's definitely scripture where Christ gave instructions about, and that is true. You're not supposed to be broadcast on that,
Broadcasting what
clearly.
you're doing.
But that's
But the whole right,
If I go out here and I go help somebody, everybody doesn't need to know that I'm helping someone.
Right.
that's
Go out
true.
here and
That's
I
what
go,
I'm
okay.
talking about.
No. Okay. That's the context right there. You just said it. Because the first one, it sounded like you said, don't tell
That's the
nobody.
content.
no,
But-
that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Yes.
just saying that
It says what you done behind the scenes basically you'll be rewarded in the, like you'll be rewarded in the present, not specifically, but it does say that in the Bible. So what you do behind the scenes, you will be blessed out in public.
So what
Right.
I'm saying is that when you go out here and you're like, oh, well, I helped this person and I helped that person. Oh, and I did this and I did that. You ain't supposed to be doing that.
You're doing it for when people brag like that, they're doing it for attention. They're doing it for
Right. That's a good point. Because
satisfy the ego. They're doing it to satisfy the ego.
yeah.
right. No, that's a good point. But the first verse, right? The first verse does set it off. It says, beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen.
It don't say don't.
Yes.
It doesn't say don't practice your righteousness in front of, but don't do it for the purpose, like you said, for the ego trip.
And that is ego. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like say if you having a prayer service and you want to tell people, you gotta tell somebody this we have prayer service. Yeah. Okay.
Prayer service, we're going in prayer, guys. We're doing X, Y, and Z. We have
But you don't gotta go up like when you go to work the next day. Good morning, Latrice. Guess what I did last night?
I had prayer.
And I prayed for you and your family. So text your uncle, tell him I did that. I pray for him too. Like that's
And I turned my plate down 3 days for you, Kenny. 3 days.
Look, my mouth dry because I turned down my plate.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I ain't been eating, can't you see? I ain't been eating.
Yeah. That's the issue. Because going back to the Pharisees, when they were praying, they were like so loud in the
courtyard.
town square. We're just like,
Mhm.
no, you ain't gotta do that. I'm getting ready to pray. Put down the fruit and vegetables. Like that type of like.
Oh, wait a minute. What's that called? That's like the what are they called? The guys in Philly when they stand on corners and they be yelling out that you're supposed to be saved and Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you talking about the Hebrew
Well, they
Israelites?
think that's mission work. They think that's mission work.
Well, see, that's another. Wow, they want to. Some of them. I'm not gonna say all of them. Some of them is on some other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Because
even when you see regular churches that put a speaker outside and they be doing, they consider that to be mission work.
see, I question the efficiency of that because you're not actually having no conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you're just yelling out. First of all, you're just yelling out once again. You're using
Yeah.
churchanese and some of that. I don't even know what he's talking about.
He say churchanese. What?
Yeah, churchanese. Yeah.
Outside
You know.
yelling, talking about you need to get to the church. You're going to hell. You
Right.
have sinned. You've done this.
Heard that
You've done
term
that.
before.
First
Oh
of
my
all,
goodness.
every single day we're gonna do something because this walk is a
Exactly.
walk of growth. We're gonna
Listen,
do something.
you gotta. I go back to the woman at the well. Jesus started using, okay, this woman's drawing water. This is what I'm going to use. He's going to use the very thing she's doing and she knows something about. But then he hits the point where she's like, wait a minute, what type of water where I ain't got to thirst again? See, now you're drawing somebody in. But if I'm just yelling at you from the block, you in the cab, you going to hell. Like, we're like, yo, what's... No,
Corner, boys.
wait, the
They
movie...
gonna run.
The movie we watched, what was that movie we talked about a couple weeks ago?
Too close.
No,
Tall man.
yeah, Tall Man.
Man.
Remember the Reverend on the radio?
Yes.
Next time y'all watch it, listen to
Yes.
what he said. I'm cracking up because he said someone came to me and said I did good works. Well, you're still going to hell.
Yeah. And
I was like, no.
but people
Yeah, listen,
talk
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
You gonna run people away from the church. They ain't come to no church. You yelling like that.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the truth, Erica.
You cannot
That's the
hit people
truth.
over the head with a Bible. You cannot beat people with a Bible.
No, you can't.
That don't work anymore.
You have to love people where they are.
Yeah.
And that's why, listen, that's why when we basically get saved and we start to know God, we start to develop this self-righteous behavior. And we're like, wait a minute, you shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. And the reason why we're judging people is because of where our walk is at that time. But at some point in your time, you were at the same exact walk. And that's why we have to be very mindful of how we are coming off to other people, because we're supposed to be light in a dark place. And you could be dealing with
turning up our noses.
Yeah, you could be dealing with somebody who basically is in a dark space, but now you're light, and you have to be able to enlighten them. Not treat them like, okay, well, wait a minute, you dark. I can't even associate with you at this point.
That's why we gotta. I was gonna say that's why we gotta That's
You
why we got to
taking out
check
trash?
ourselves, because I think it's a natural thing for, if God has, if you're at a certain point in deliverance, it's natural for you when you're dealing with someone to almost say, how come y'all not there? Because you're now walking in that different experience. But you, like you said, you got to pump your brakes and realize, hey, you're not at where you're at. And then you got to recognize, oh, I wasn't always here. I got here, but it goes back to what I just said earlier about the whole, some of the weight that it feels sometimes, like that weight of, okay, the Lord has did this for me,
Yeah.
but now you're trying to put that on me also. Like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to walk
Yeah.
with the Lord, and now you're already getting on me about being 50 miles down the road with the Lord, and I haven't even got to what does it look like to walk with him?
Yeah.
But you criticizing me about not being where you at, but I got to get to where I get. It's like a parent beating a kid. Like, man, they ain't walking yet. Yeah, how many months are they? Like, you just like you dismiss the development because you're already developed.
Yeah.
I've been up walking, going to work, doing it, baby. You sitting here crying. So that's kind of ridiculous. But spiritually, that's what we do. There are a lot of people. I'm gonna say this. There's a lot of people who, I want to say, they've known the Lord a long time, but they're still spiritual babes because they haven't been eating.
Yeah.
You have to eat.
Gotta
See, that's
eat.
the other thing. You can't do anything to earn your salvation, but you do need to do something to grow.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's and so we conflate those things. So when you see a baby Christian, you say, oh, look at that sinner. They're going to hell. Wait, because they're baby or because they don't know Jesus? Like, which one is it? Because right, you just throw all these things.
Oh my
They're
God.
like, yo, they're immature.
They gonna be whipped with many stripes.
with many.
They gonna be whipped with some stripes now.
No, my Nan and them used to say somebody would bust hell wide open. I was like, how you gonna bust hell wide open?
Wide open.
Yeah, grandma used to say the same
Yeah,
thing.
they gonna bust hell wide open. I'm like, wait a minute, it was okay, so it was sealed up, but they gonna bust it open. Or no, my nanny used to say this, and I still be like, I don't know if y'all should say this one. They should say they gonna die barking.
What?
Yes, die barking.
New one. That's a new one. I never heard that.
Oh, that must be a Southern thing. Oh, look, now the way she doing that, they gonna die barking.
Until we get that concept, the only expectation is to believe.
Yep.
Loyalty, right? It's like that's it. It's like loyal. I'm loyal to you, man.
That's it. That's
Because think about loyal people who are not consistent, or they're not doing what they need to do. But one thing but see, they always loyal to me, man. They loyal. They come. They don't go to. Now they're not doing what they need to do, but they're not going anywhere else. So it's kind of like that type of thing. But we can't. That's why Paul says, don't, just because grace exists doesn't mean you should just go around and sin because of grace.
Yeah.
Yo,
Don't take advantage of that.
let me tell y'all something. It was a pastor that preached. It was a pastor that preached at this funeral, right? And it was my nephew's funeral. Now, mind you, it's a lot of broken people that was in this funeral. And the pastor, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "One of y'all is next."
Ooh, are you serious?
I'm not even lying. And my dad is in the back talking about, I don't know what he's talking about. I ain't dying. Everybody else in here gonna die, but I ain't dying. I don't know what y'all talking about up in here.
Wow.
So I'm like,
See,
there's a bunch of broken people up in here. And the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, "One of y'all is next." I said,
Because think about it, because we're taught, listen, we got to give them this message. Because if you don't know Jesus when you die, okay. Yeah, okay, yes, but I think, like you said, you gotta,
you
I
gotta
mean,
come from a
you
different
can love better than that.
You gotta come from a different way. You gotta come
Yeah.
from a totally different
Yeah.
perspective. If you are trying to reach the people, or you trying to put the people out, which one? You're gonna have to figure out which one you're trying to do.
Or
Because
listen,
you ain't
if you
reaching
scare
somebody.
them, did they really see? This is a question I always have at my thing. If I
you
got
look
converted at score
if
point,
you look at every single person that came to Christ in the Bible, they never came to Christ based on fear.
No,
Right,
you
that's
ain't scaring
true.
nobody
Good
that ain't
point.
afraid to die.
That's a good point.
They never,
Very good point.
every, and I'm gonna use this word, and like I was gonna say every out of the box altar call, but every time somebody was converted into a believer, it was never based on fear.
No.
Right. No, that's a good.
Because you ain't scaring people that ain't afraid to
That's
die.
not how Christ operated.
That is
No.
not how he operates.
No, that's a good point.
I was like, yo, I get only.
We gotta stop, Lord. I'm telling y'all, I don't know what I have been doing. I really have been praying for the church body. All
Yes.
jokes aside,
The only
because
point
we in
that I
trouble.
got,
The church is in trouble.
We are in trouble.
the only point that I got is that we did not belong to ourselves. That's the only point I got. But everything else, I was like, excuse me? Like, I said, what is he in? What he
That
said?
was awful.
That was awful.
I said, and you, my father is hilarious. When he was like,
And you know, Larry ain't got no filter.
Listen, my dad got no filter. He said, I don't want that nigga in here talking about. I ain't dying. He said, everybody else is dying. Now, if y'all want to die, y'all go right ahead, but I'm gonna outlive y'all. That's what he said.
No, well, like you said, he didn't like, yeah, man, like you in a sense you talked above everybody's head.
Yes.
Like, no, like, yeah, I'm thinking like, no, that's the funny thing, man. Like we preachers or anybody else,
You get to say
sometimes you're trying to do God's job. God will change the hearts, but you like, oh, I'm gonna change this heart right now I'm gonna get right to this point. But did you change the heart? Like, I mean, I think that's why for me, I'm like I said, I'm big on the language thing. Not just actual language, but yo, what do you talk about? What are you into? And so that's how I will try to, I'm going to interact with you from that standpoint. Because to what Janika said, it's interesting. Not only did everyone come that you see get converted come not from a fearful place, they always came from the context of where they were.
That's right, where they were.
Like I think about one of the big ones in the Old Testament was Naaman when he got healed of his leprosy. He asked the prophet, can I take this dirt that's on your that's on your land, Jerusalem dirt, because we was talking about this before. Back then, they associated their gods with the territory. So the God of Israel, okay, he lives in Israel. He's in Jerusalem. So I got healed by this prophet in Jerusalem, but I got to go back to my town. So what was his way of being converted and showing loyalty to God? Can I take this dirt? Because see, this dirt represents, that's where this God, I'm serving this God. So you got to meet people where they're at. I mean, that's I mean, it's not hard. It's just a patience, because I'm learning patience. So even in my daily, like, man, I'm running into people all the time. And before I used to be hyper about, oh, yo, man, how am I going to share my faith? But now I don't do that. I say, man, let me see how much I get to know this person. And through that, the Lord's going to lead me. Like he going to give me strategy, might not be, and just go from there. So it's like an organic thing. So I'm not worried about, did I share the gospel with Jimmy? No, I'm getting to know Jimmy. He's going to get to know me. And I believe somewhere in these conversations, when we're talking about things, according to God's will and purpose, listen, Lord, I'm ready for when you call me, or if you call me to say a particular thing or do a particular thing, whatever, through my demonstration, whatever that is. So I don't even worry about that. I just prepare. you know, and like, how do you prepare? You know, we just try to live and represent, like, you know, that spiritual tattoo. I'm like, I got this tat. So somebody might ask me, yo, man, what's that tat mean? Because we do that when we see somebody with a tattoo, especially if it's something like, hey, what's that mean? You know, you're interested. You wearing it, you got it. It has to mean something because you got it on. Nobody got, yeah, I just got one because you know, whatever. So, you know, the same premise, man. So, and I just read I'm about to say it like the trees, Habakkuk. Yeah, you know, right division, make the plain. Habakkuk. Yeah, I just read Habakkuk. Or the haiku. I just read the haiku.
The haiku.
And yeah, make the vision plain. Write it out, make it plain. You know, think about it. No greater love than this, than a man laid down his life for his friend. God, make it simple. Okay, what does love look like? So, you know, for God so loved the world. Oh, how does he demonstrate love? This is what he did. He sent his son. He gave up something. Going back to that offering. He offered, and then Jesus offered. So it's these simple principles or concepts that you start with, and that try to apply that with people, whoever I'm dealing with, whether they're Christian or they're an atheist. What, you know, I'm going to apport to them according to whatever God has for me. Now, they might never ever come to God, but that shouldn't stop me from being who I need to be with them or around them or whatever.
They are.
That's why I like Proverbs. Proverbs gets straight to the point.
There's
Proverbs,
a lot.
It covers every aspect of life in Proverbs. In Proverbs, you'll learn everything you need to know.
There's a lot of good. Yeah, it's a lot of good principles, man. Just
the Book of Wisdom. I love it.
Whew, that's
took that scarf off, girl. I know that's right.
Oh, you don't. See, the Lord must have told her.
She done de-Africa. She took it off.
Okay. Okay. She done de-Africanized.
Mother Earth off. Mother Earth.
So it's past my bedtime.
Oh. All right.
Janika,
Nigga, what did you show? You look like Wakanda in there, man. You got all like white.
Wakanda. I like that pillow. I like that pillow.
None of y'all business. I'm getting under the covers.
She had that mud cloth. Is that a mud cloth pillow?
Yeah, no, she just got in the bed.
I didn't know she put the pillow. It was like, it looked like the Blair Witch Project. Remember when he was in the woods?
Stuff was throwing around up in there.
She's throwing stuff. Help her.
I got pillows. I gotta move the pillows out the way and get under the covers, okay?
She like, y'all all up in my business.
Like, she got about 100 pillows on her.
I hit the phone camera by accident.
She did? Okay, I thought she was she showing us.
I know.
She was showing you. That was by accident.
That was an accident. She didn't want nobody see all them tossing of the pillows and stuff.
Fight with the pillow. You get over here.
She in there like, get out of here. What is you doing? I'm trying to get okay.
First time I ever had to make my cousin's bed, I'm like, Janika, like,
shut up, Chingy.
It was a mess.
You gotta have 100 pillows.
Oh, she got a whole lot of pillows.
She got so many pillows, ridiculous.
Be quiet. I do not. I do not.
I got 30.
She
got 30 pillows.
That's how it is.
You know what? I'm not counting them. I'm not fooling with y'all.
Now you know
it must be a lot if you gotta count them.
You got to count them. You got a lot.
You got a lot. I ain't counting all these.
If you got the key, you can't say one or two. That's it.
You can't even see nothing. You can't even see the bed. I'm like,
shut it up.
You know what, Janika? I was forgot to mention. I live like 5 minutes away from E9.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
If I was 5 minutes,
that would be different if I was 5 minutes. That would be way different. 5 minutes,
yep.
Guess you better move.
That's funny.
I'm moving in. You got room for all these pillows?
I can't do
stupid. Nope.
I can't do city life. I don't know how y'all do city life. God bless y'all. I need quiet.
But you know what? Just about everybody on my block is retired.
Oh, so yeah, your block is
It's quiet.
quiet.
It's quiet around here. Yeah, it's
Oh, you on the
quiet.
blessed block.
Yeah.
It is. It's quiet, and they church going folk. Okay, on this block, it really is quiet.
Mm,
Okay, so all right, we're talking about 2 weeks. Shame, low self-esteem, and affirmations. So basically, we'll talk about the shame and low self-esteem and how to top it off with the affirmations and the loving yourself and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Okay, that's much needed too.
Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
So we don't think that affirmations are needed sometimes, but
They are.
they're always needed.
They are.
Just like talking to yourself, just not answering.
Every day, I talk to myself every day.
I talk to myself and I answer myself back. Let me
I
tell
know
you
that's
what,
right. And my mother act like I'm crazy. Was you just talking? Yes, I was talking to myself. This is a private conversation. Why are you bothering me?
I mean,
I was
it's-
driving through Haddonfield the other day, right? And I kept saying, I was like, all right, I gotta go home. So I was driving through Haddonfield and I seen these giant vases. They were in the trash. And I was I drove by them and then I was like, because I saw them, I was like, Dad,
You said,
I said, yo, I need to stop and get those vases. I said, but are they in the trash or recycle? So I kept driving down. I kept driving down just to see if everybody's trash was out, recycle day or whatever the situation was. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go and stop and get that because somebody gonna look at me and be like, look at this Negro digging in our trash, getting our vases. So you know what? And I kept driving. And I said, you know what? Let me turn this corner. I said, when did I ever care about somebody talking about me? I turned right back around. I got them vases.
I know that's
Sitting
right.
in front of my
Yeah.
yard, and I
I know
spray
that's right.
painted them. So let me tell you something. Somebody's trash is another person's treasure.
Take
Absolutely.
a picture. I want to see what they look like. What was wrong with them, Chingy?
No, nothing.
nothing. That's why she scooped them up.
They
Nothing.
just didn't want them.
They just ain't want them.
Were they heavy?
No, they were like the big giant plastic. I don't know if they're
I know the ones you talking about
Oh, you
too.
sit them on the
Not
floor.
they're
They like floor vases.
yes, they're floor vases. But I put
Oh, wow.
they're outside vases, so I'm just gonna put little trees in them. And
I know that's right.
Oh, good
said-
Lord. Okay.
yeah,
Go
they're
pick
real
it up.
nice. They real
Don't
nice.
encourage Chingy. Don't encourage, because Chingy is right behind Aunt Sissy with the hoarding, man. Don't
No,
encourage her.
Oh,
hoarding I am not. But let me tell you something. Hoarding I'm not. But let me tell you, when
I didn't say you are a
Wait a minute.
hoarder.
How many?
I
Do you
said-
have as many vases as Janika has pillows?
I'm asking Nika how many plants she got in her house,
Oh, she got a lot of plans.
Plants.
growing all over the ceiling.
Oh
I
my
told
God.
you,
Sound
I
like my
told-
cousin.
listen.
Her
My
right
cousin is
now.
like that.
Listen, my cousin got a lot of plants, and I'm just listen. I got like 2 trees.
That's the
My cousin
last
got a
time.
house full of
That's
plants.
the
She got a
last
name for
time
everything.
you gonna come and shut up. That's the last time you come into my house and take care of me, woman.
She said, "Shut up."
She said,
She said, "Shut it up."
all these, I told her, said, listen, Nikki, give me a tree.
What?
Give me a tree.
Give me a tree.
She's stupid. You gotta have plants because plants help purify the air. You gotta have plants.
Yeah.
They sure do. Oxygen. They give off oxygen.
Oxygen.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, my aloe plant is like,
It's still growing, Chingy.
yes, it is. My aloe had babies, so I had to take them all out and put them in other pots.
Oh, that's awesome.
My aloe plant keeps growing and it keeps producing babies, so I have to take them out and put them in other plants. Now I gotta replant this huge aloe plant that's like a tree. And
That
I have to replant
crazy.
it because aloe grows in the environment that you put them in. It's in a really big vase, and that aloe plant just keeps growing.
Oh wow.
Chingy,
I got 5 aloe plants now.
Chingy, you gotta come. You know what you are, right, Chingy? Because the one in my office is all the way curving against the ceiling. I need you to come help me move it.
Oh yeah. I definitely can move it, and it gotta stay in the sun.
The one that's in my office, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dad, you got plants all over the place. You like poison ivy.
She
Yeah,
said up to the
no,
ceiling. I'm like,
right.
what kind of plant is that? It is up to the ceiling.
It's a what is it called, Sugar?
Gosh, that one
Let me
is
have
huge.
I'll take a picture and send it to Chingy. She'll send it to you. I've
Okay.
had it since
Look at
2004.
this tree.
The tree.
I've had it since 2004.
She got a whole tree in her room. I'm telling you, it's a tree.
Wow.
It's not a tree. It just
Bush.
it's
She said a
not.
bush.
It's just gotten very okay. You're supposed to prune your plants, but I struggle with this one because I've had the plant since 2004, and I'm nervous because I don't know how to prune it right so it will root and grow. And I looked at the videos and I tried and I cut one of the stems, and then half of the doggone thing died when I did that.
Listen, when we had to move it the first time, and we was taking like the little weeds and whatever it was out. Nikki's like, Chingy, can't move it this way. I said, listen, I'm not doing this. Okay, you gonna have to do this because I cannot sit here and do this and pull.
You was gonna break her. You're not breaking her. I had her too long. What is this? 2022?
She was like, you're gonna break
man.
her. You're gonna break her. I can't have you break. I said, you know what, Janika, you're gonna be putting this tree back on your own. Okay?
So, honestly, it's taller than me. I can't move it by myself.
Wow.
It's huge.
It's
huge.
about to outgrow your house, and then you just can live in a tree.
Yes.
I gotta figure something out though, for real. I can't, and because I gotta go to Home Depot and try to find big enough sticks to wrap it in. So
Oh.
Yes. I had to get sticks out of the yard somewhere, out of trees, just to stick in my aloe plant.
yeah.
That's why I was like, I can't. These trees are getting really big at this
Y'all gonna have a forest up in there. Y'all can have a forest.
Whatever. Chingy, stop diming my house out. Stop diming my house out.
All right.
You gonna wake up one morning like,
That's all.
You ain't,
That's
you ain't
okay.
kidding.
That's okay, because Nikki
It's gonna be a little shop of horrors up in there. Feed me, Seymour, feed me.
She gonna
Feed me.
invite us She gonna invite us she gonna invite all y'all to her house one day.
no, not if you got no Venus flytrap up in that joint.
We'll,
You know what? We sure can. We can do it in June. I can't do it till my classes are done. That'll be in May.
You gonna see all the bushes.
she said all of us.
That's too funny. We can do that. I don't mind.
But hey, if you got a big screen, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I know he did not.
Well, I guess he said I ain't coming nowhere if I can't watch no
Yeah.
TV.
Wait.
You see that ego coming in?
I don't what's a big screen? How big is the screen?
You hear that ego coming in?
No, I'm talking, yeah, big, big screen TV.
No. What size? 70? Are you talking 80 inches, Trey?
No, nothing like that. What do you have? 40?
I got a big flat screen, but I don't know what it is.
Okay. Oh no, that's cool. Ain't gotta be, Cineplex.
He just want to say I ain't looking at no plants all day, so I need.
Right, I gotta watch something, man.
I need to watch television.
Y'all can watch the plants grow if y'all want.
I'm not gonna sit here and look at no plants.
You good.
Well, Chiggy knows when people come over my house, everybody's comfortable. We play games, laugh, talk, game night, all that kind of stuff.
What kind of games y'all play?
Everything from phase 10 to what's left, right, center, Monopoly, the quick way.
Jeopardy.
Yup.
Jeopardy, okay.
Yup.
I only play Uno.
Remember the Jeopardy?
We got Uno. We got two kinds of Uno. Matter of fact, even the new one where you flip it, where you flip the cards for Uno, the two different sides.
Oh,
Phase
okay.
10. Yo, phase 10 is really fun.
Is it? What is it about though?
I don't
It's
know.
similar to Gin Rummy. It's similar to Gin Rummy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't play no car. Oh, I don't play no Jim Rummy now.
Yup. That's a
Yeah,
sin, and you
hit that
dying and going to
table.
hell.
That's a sin.
Yup, and you dying
Now
and
he
going
talking
to
about
hell for
sin.
playing
Remember
cards.
his sin. It's a
That's
That's what they
What
said.
is sin?
That's
If you
what
played
sin is,
cards,
sin.
if you played cards, it was a sin and you was
Yeah, they
going to
did, yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
We got highwaymen and heathens and hardcore heathens
Something
over
is
here
wrong.
playing cards and all y'all going.
That's what sin is, sin.
And then you hit that, and you had one of them aunts that said, I don't care, Jen, hit me again.
Right there.
No.
She said, I worry about that tomorrow. Hit me.
That's right, and give me another drink while you at it.
Boy, go in the. Yeah, give me that one. You know what I'm
Everybody
talking
got
about.
one of them aunts, give me another drink.
Oh my gosh,
I
y'all
wanna-
are funny.
Thanks a
Okay.
lot. Hit me
Oh
with
my gosh, y'all are too funny.
So yeah, so we know what we're talking about in 2 weeks. Shame, low self-esteem, and affirmations. You know, we don't want to just talk about low self-esteem and shame and not have something to back it up. So yes, we are
That's
definitely
gonna be
going to
interesting.
do the affirmations. I definitely want to do that. Okay, so try.
No,
Mm.
she didn't just.
Would you like to pray us out, please?
Jesus, funny.
Yeah, no problem, man. I can't. I wish I could
All
do a
right,
Rick
Miss
Jackson.
Habakkuk, Miss Habakkuk.
Habakkuk. Okay. Bow your head, hide. Bow your head, and we pray.
And she's still recording all of this. That's what's crazy.
Oh,
Okay.
and she sure
Oh, yeah,
is.
take it off, man, 'cause